time we leave, we say stay up. Focus on the love, not the hater. Streets is not your friend, show you no love. Some will never know till they grow up. Grandma's on her knees saying prayed up. Kids is outside getting sprayed up. I'm coming home late, don't stay up.
You are now watching the Corey Porter Podcast, Prison Talk.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Corey Porter Podcast, Prison Talk. You know what I'm saying? Where we talk to various people around the world, both men and women, about their experiences being incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Today, I got a special guest, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Jeff P.R. Watkins. I know him as Sean, you know what I'm saying? And formerly known as DIN number 02A1787. Sean, what's good?
What up, man? What's good with you, though? What up?
Good, man. I'm chilling, man. You know what I'm saying? Happy to have you as my my guest, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, there's no way I could have spoke to anybody before speaking to you, you know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people who've been incarcerated, been in prison, but I know your story from the outside, you know, being out here and you being inside, but now it's a good chance for you to tell, you know, your story to the people on what actually went down while you was locked up for how many years was it?
9. Well, I was sentenced to 9 years, but I did about 8 off of that.
9 years. All right, so let's get into it, right? So you was convicted in, what was it, 2001, I believe, right?
Yeah, March 29th, 2001. Yep.
That's when you was arrested.
That's when I was arrested. You're right.
Yeah, when you actually was convicted, went to trial, blue trial, convicted and sentenced. That was what?
I really don't know. That was back in 2002 because remember,
2002.
I was in a county for about a year. I was in Dutchess County for about a year, so that was like 2002. I'm gonna say it had to have been like around, if I'm not mistaken, maybe March, April. You know what I mean?
2002.
Yeah.
All right, so listen. So we're gonna go right into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You convicted, you sentenced to 9 years. You know, we'll go back and we'll talk about some stuff and how you felt and how your family felt around that time. But we're gonna go straight into there. You get convicted. You're in the county, but now they telling you you already blue trial. We transferring you out of the county. Yeah, that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
All right, so tell us. So where'd you go?
So from Dutchess County, I went straight to Fishkill Correctional Facility. That's transit. That's a spot that everybody go to that get convicted around in this area. And even in New York City, you know what I mean? The only thing is their county is more like Rikers Island.
With this area, you mean Dutchess County?
Dutchess County, yeah.
Dutchess County, New York.
Dutchess County, New York, yeah. But yeah, so I was sent to Fishkill. I was in Fishkill for probably like a good week. You know what I mean? And then they transferred me up out of Fishkill and sent me straight to Clinton, Maine, Dannemora.
And that was so Clinton. So when you got to Fishkill, right? You know, this is the first time you being locked up, period. Now, so you know this is your first stop going to prison. What are you thinking in your mind now? It's like what does first of all, what does Fishkill Correctional look like?
I mean, it's like prison, but it's more so like the county part of prison because you lock down the majority of the day. You know what I mean? So it's like you're in cells, but not like with the bars. This is like metal doors with the little glass. You know what I mean? The door, or whatever.
And you by yourself in there.
By yourself in there, yeah. You got like you have a window in there, but that joint is bolted down. You can't open that at all. You know what I mean? But it's almost like it's like you in a box. It's almost like a size of a bathroom, a small bathroom. You know what I mean? You have your bed in there, you have your toilet, and you have a sink. You have a sink in there. Yeah.
So wait, when you say you locked down for the majority of the time, what is that? What is that?
So out of 24 hours, you know what I mean, out of a day, you're locked down maybe about like, let me see. So they let you come out for breakfast, then you lock back in. They let you come out for lunch, then you lock back in. They let you come out for rec for I think about an hour, then you lock back in, and then they let you come out for dinner, then you lock back in. So I don't really know the how many hours you locked in, but you locked in more than you actually out. I mean, when you went Fishkill.
So you said rec, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Would you get about maybe about an hour each one?
I think it's like a half an hour for any other they call it chow. That's when they say on the chow, that's when you go to the mess hall. You know what I mean? That's where you go eat at. So I think that's like a half an hour. Rec, I believe, is only an hour.
So you probably locked down for about a good 20 hours.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
20
Yep.
hours. So what do so for people that's never been to prison, like myself, who's actually interested in this, not enough to go to prison, but interested in what y'all go through for those who was locked up. What do you do in your cell for 20 hours?
Think. You know what I mean? Like think. Well, for me, it was more so just thinking about everything that happened, you know what I mean, with me during my trial, after blowing trial, and everything. And then also thinking about what I'm actually about to experience going to prison. You know what I mean? So it was just wild time to think about a whole bunch of stuff, life, you know what I mean? At that time I had just had kids, so it was just a lot that I was thinking about when I was in there, man. And yeah, that's what it was, just thinking, you know.
So when you got transferred, right? You say you left the county jail and they sent you to your first spot, which was Fishkill. You was only there for about a couple of weeks
About a
because you
week.
knew that a week because you knew that was the spot where really they were just getting you prepared to go what they call up north in New York.
Yeah. So
So
so when you first get into Fishkill is like the initiation into prison. You know what I mean? When you first get in there, like when you first get in there, they make you shave your beard. If you have a mustache, whatever, you gotta shave all of that off. You know what I mean? They had us lined up, poles, like back to back, like, you know what I mean, butt naked. You know what I mean? Like there's a guy in front of me, there's a guy in back of me. You know what I mean? You gotta like pretty much like hold your private part, you know what I mean? So he ain't touching on the next guy poles, you know what I mean? And you gotta walk into the shower where they make you I don't know what it is. It's like this orange soap that they make you wash up with. So if you try to escape, the dogs can track you down. But you in it's just the first time in my life that I took showers with a whole bunch of men. Like I could not, yo, bro, like it that part to me blew my mind. I'm like, first of all, like, why are you making us all strip down naked? You know what I mean? And then having us line up in a hallway naked, and we each got to walk into the shower room. You in the shower room with like 5, 6 different guys taking showers. You know what I mean? Trying to wash this orange soap off, and the whole time, the correctional officers is all just standing there watching. It'd be females and dudes. You know what I mean? Just standing there watching you wash up, like mad degrading, son. Wow, degrading, son. Like that's like your initiation in. Like that's like them showing you, like, yeah, this is what it is. You know what I mean?
and that happened in Fishkill.
Immediately in Fishkill. That happened like my first maybe hour or two in Fishkill when I left the county, Dutchess County, and I went into Fishkill. That was like my first hour or two in, is when they made me shave off everything and then uh take that shower. Yeah.
So you like 21 years old at the time, right? This is
Yeah.
2002,
Hmm.
or did you turn 22?
I was still 21 at that time. Yeah.
21 years. So now you're 21 years old. You in Fishkill getting
No,
ready to
matter
go.
of fact, I was 22. You're right.
Okay, so you was 22 years old. You in Fishkill getting ready to go up north. You in a shower with a whole bunch of dudes, showering with dudes naked, all that kind of stuff. I mean, pause. But what is going through your mind now? Like, cause I always like to, I'm sure this is, of course, it's a shock. It's a culture shock. It's everything is like, yo, in your mind, are you thinking like, yo, like I'm really in prison right now. Like this is crazy. I know we see a lot of movies on TV growing up, but to actually go and be like, yo, this is what it is. Like, what is going through your mind as a 22-year-old who just
So
got hit with 9 years?
yeah. So for me, it was just like was just like it felt mad degrading. You know what I mean? It was just like, yo, why am I here? You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's already enough that I blew trial and was sentenced to 9 years. It's like now I'm in here in the shower room with a whole bunch of naked niggas. You know what I mean? Just you know, mad degrading. You know what I mean? When you got COs just standing there watching you wash up and stuff like that. Um, for me at that time, it was just like I guess this is what I had to do. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't no getting around none of that. You know what I mean? You know, when you got what I mean, hundreds of guys lined up for this, like this is what it is. You know what I mean? You either do it or them COs will break you up, put you in a box real quick, and then still make you do it. You know what I mean? So it was just, I guess at that time, just going with the program, you know what I mean, of my initiation into going into prison.
All right, so you did a week in Fishkill.
Hmm.
Now what happens? Are you in your cell and they come to you be like, "Yo, listen, it's time to go." Like, how does that
Yes.
look?
So you in your cell, they'll come with like a little list or whatever and be like, yo, pack up. You know what I mean? So that's when you just got packed. I didn't really have nothing in Fishkill, you know what I mean? But you know what they gave me, which was just like sheets and stuff like that. So they just like on a pack up. So on a pack up, that means that you up out of there. Like, you know what I mean? They shipping you up out of Fishkill to go to wherever prison that they sending you to at that time.
You don't so when you don't know where you're going.
Nah, I don't know where I'm going. They just say pack up. I didn't know where I was going until I was actually on a bus for like about my fourth hour on a bus is when I found out exactly what jail I was going to.
And that jail was Clinton Correctional Facility.
Yeah, Clinton, Maine Correctional Facility in Dannemora. Yeah.
Now I did some research about Clinton, and Clinton is known in New York as one of the most dangerous prisons in New York.
Yeah. One
And
of
you
them.
went there basically no prior convictions, no prior felonies, no nothing. Your first offense, period, they send you to one of the worst prisons in New York State.
Yeah.
Now, is that did they send you there because of your charges, or like do your charges determine where you go, or do they automatically just send you wherever they want to send you?
I mean, I really don't know how that part of the process works. I know you'll get sent to a max, which that's where I got sent to. You'll get sent to a max if you have over, I believe, 7 or 8 years. You get sent to a max. Or if you have a felony, which I had, you get sent to a max. How they determine on what prison they send you to, I really don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how that part of it goes, but yeah, I was definitely sent to Clinton, Maine.
So tell me about this bus ride though. So you on a bus, you know what I'm saying? What does that look like? Describe to the people, what does it look like when you get transferred from one prison to another prison?
So you on a bus, right? There's about like two correctional officers on a bus with you, one in the front, one in the back. Um, they mainly got their guns, whatever, just in case something pop off in the bus. But you shackled to, I mean, to a guy that you sit next to. Like each one of us was shackled to another guy that none of us knew who this person was. So basically, what they do is they put you all on a bus during Fishkill transit. You know what I mean? And as they go up north, you know what I mean, to the different prisons, is when, you know what I mean, whatever your classification is, like you might have, there was guys on there whose classification was little to none. So they was getting dropped off in like mediums or camps and stuff like that. The guys who had the most time on a bus and whose crimes was more serious, you know what I mean, those are the ones that got dropped off last. Those are the ones that we was the ones that got dropped off at the max.
So you're on a bus, right? And what does that look like though? Is it because when I see, I always describe things how I see on TV. They make it seem like is it true that the windows is tinted where you can't see out?
No, you can see out, but can't nobody see in.
Oh, that's how I go.
Yeah, you could see out. You know what I mean? You could definitely see out. But can't nobody see in. Yeah.
Okay, nobody seeing. So yeah, so that bus ride for you was how many hours was you on the bus before
If
you
I'm not
got?
mistaken, I probably was on that bus for about like 6, 7 hours, man. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the other spots that they was dropping off these other guys, we was sitting there for a while. So you know what I mean? When we got close to Clinton, I remember one of the CEOs on the bus was calling out names, and he was like, so for instance, he'd call out a name and be like Pop or PC, you know what I mean? And he just kept saying that going down, you know what I mean? And I remember the guy who I was shackled to, who I didn't even know who this dude was, but I asked him, I'm like, yo, what's Pop and PC? And he was like, Pop is for population. You know what I mean? Like if you wanna like when you get to your spot, if you want to be in population or you want to be in PC, which is protective custody. Protective custody is pretty much for the guys, it's pretty much for the weak. It's for the guys who scared, you know what I mean, to be in population, or they might have current beef with somebody, or depending on a charge, you know what I mean, they don't want to be in population because they, they're a target, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. So they go to PC where they locked up the majority of their time. You know what I mean? They put in like a little cell where can't nobody touch them. You know
Now
what I
I
mean?
ain't even gonna front though. You was 22 at the time. Why didn't you choose PC though?
Man, I didn't choose PC because I needed to see what prison was about, bro. Like I mean, I already blew trial 9 years. You know what I mean? It wasn't no this, and then the stuff that I was going through, even in the county at that time, you know what I mean, which we definitely will talk about in the book that I'm currently writing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was just for me to see, you know what I mean, what prison was about. You know what I mean? Like I'm here now. I got mad years I gotta do. I wasn't about, first of all, I didn't even really know what it was until he explained it, but I wasn't about to be put in a cell. You know what I mean? I didn't like being in a cell when I was in Dutchess County. I didn't like being in a cell when I was in Fishkill. You know what I mean? So population, you have more freedom. You know what I mean? You can come out more and see what's really going on. So
But did you know that though when you was on that bus that with actually, because with me, I would think at 22 years old, if I was on the bus, I probably been like, yo, you said PC is where can't nobody touch me. Yeah, put me in there. You know what I mean? I mean, that's me though. And I mean, I ain't on there. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to
yeah,
see the full experience or nothing.
yeah,
Put me in PC. Let me be myself until I
yeah.
can get up out of here. But that's just me though.
So
I'm what they call billion.
I was living a whole different other lifestyle before I went to prison. Fair wasn't, one of the things that, I mean, thank God, I grew up with, which it's actually a gift and a curse. But for me, it's like I always have to see something for what it is. You know what I mean? I felt like because, I'm already here, you know what I mean? Like, why not see what this is about? Like, I'm gonna be in prison, but like not to the point to where I can't come out and see like what this is really about. Like I'm not about to do 9, 8 years, you know what I mean, in PC. That's definitely not about to happen. So I for me, it was just the experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm here, like, what's up? What's this about? You know what I mean?
You acting like you know what I mean? Like you was at Disney World or something. Like, yo, like
Nah, it was
yo, I want to see what I want to go to that park and see what that's about.
nah, it wasn't it's like, so it's like before you go to jail, right? You know what I mean? Especially if you're not living that lifestyle, whatever, like prison is always talked about as like one of the worst places you can be on earth. You know what I mean? That's where the worst of the worst is at. You know what I mean? So for me at that time, I'm like, I'm here. I gotta experience what this is about. You understand what I'm saying? And then there wasn't no running from that. You know what I mean? It was like I'm here. Like what's up? Like I need to know like where I got myself into, you know what I mean, and how to move. So that's all it was. Even at that age, even at the age of 22, man, I was just mad curious of, what this lifestyle is going to look like for me for the next 8, 9 years.
All right, so you pull up in Clinton though. All right. Now is the same process you went through Clinton Is that the same process how you went through in Franklin with the whole, you know,
Not Franklin. You mean
I mean, excuse me,
Fishkill.
Fishkill. So is that did y'all go through? Did you go to when you arrived in Clinton Correctional Facility? First of all, when you pull up to Clinton, I know what Clinton looked like because I visited you there.
Mhm.
But what does Clinton look like when you pull up?
So first of all, when you first pull up, man, you see the most gigantic wall that you've ever seen in your life. You know what I mean? Like that was the first time I seen a wall like that big and how far along it went. Like, you know what I mean? Like that wall was mad. You couldn't see over it. That's how
Right.
high it was. That wall was incredibly high and it was mad long. So it was almost like it was almost like a castle that was protected by a wall. You know what I mean? If I should say so. When I first seen the wall in my mind, I'm like, oh, like it's crazy. You know what I mean? But it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same process. After I picked population, they brought me in to go see the warden. You know what I mean? A one-on-one with the warden. Like everybody that was going on population had to sit in front of the warden before they send you to your cell. And I remember like when I first got in there and I sat down, the first thing he asked me was like, "Are you in a gang?" I was like, "No." He was like, he said, "Do you have any enemies?" And I told him no. He said, "Okay." He was like, listen, he was like, everybody here, at all the correctional officers here is family. He said, so if you was to ever put your hands on one of them, you know what I mean, we'll kill you in here. Pretty much. Like he was like, we'll kill you, we'll leave you in here. You know what I mean? Like we have no problem with, you know what I mean, breaking you up, leaving you somewhere. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is here. We all family. You are not to ever put your hands on any one of these CEOs here. If you do, this is what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Now
That's
hold
what
up,
that,
wait,
that
wait,
was
wait,
his
hold up.
first conversation with me, sir.
Wait, now listen. Now, so you go there. I always vision Clinton like I'm a big fan of the movie Shawshank Redemption and the warden that was in there. You go speak to the warden in Fishkill, I mean in Clinton, excuse me, and he tells you the COs here is family, and if you touch one of them, will kill you.
Yeah, straight up, we'll kill you. That's what he said. He said, we'll kill you in here. We'll leave you somewhere in here, you know what I mean, dead. Like that's what he said. You know what I
Now
mean?
you 22, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I know how, young dudes in prison, they 22, they chest out, you know what I'm saying?
My
When
chest wasn't out at that time. I was mad skinny. So like
you know what I'm saying? I don't mean chest out like I mean like you
I know
feeling
what
like
I know
you
what you're
feeling,
talking
yeah, you
about.
feeling yourself. So
Yeah,
when he say like, yo, we'll kill you in there,
yeah.
did you like swallow some spit a little bit? Like, yo,
Nah, it was a reality check for me. Like, yeah, I'm here. This is it. You know what I mean? This is it right here. It's like, yeah, like this is how they talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, we'll kill you. Like, that's crazy. So he's letting me off the jump. Like, nigga, like we don't care. Like, pretty much you're a number in here. You know what I mean? Your number 0281787. Like, that's your number. We have no problems with killing that number. You know what I mean? If you touch one of ours, like they was dead serious about that.
now let's before we even get into the different characters and people you meet in Clinton, what was the COs like in Clinton? Like
Man, it
describe the
was
COs.
the CEOs, first of all, every last one of them was mad out of shape. You know what I mean? Looking like they was like hillbillies. You know what I mean? It's almost like you didn't need a degree or anything to get this job as a correctional officer. You know what I mean? So it was like they was mad racist. You know what I mean? Wild racist. Like they did not like any people other than their own. You know what I mean?
Now
So
racist like what? Like explain like what
I
why
had
do you say they was
CEOs.
racist?
I had CEOs call me nigger. That's the first time I ever got called a nigger by a white person was from a CEO. Cause I think I was in my cell for about maybe like 3 or 4 days, and they let you come out to clean your cell. So they open up all the cells, which I didn't know at the time because I'm fairly new. They closed those cells at a certain time, so my cell closed without me knowing. You know what I mean? So I had to walk all the way up to the front of the bubble, which when I got there, it was about no exaggeration, it was probably like 7, 8 COs in a bubble. You know what I mean? As soon as they see me, they like, yo, what the F you doing here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, like my cell just closed. So they was like, oh, we got another nigga who sell clothes and this, that, and the third. And then when I heard that, son, I'm just like, yo, this is wild crazy. You know, this nigga just called me a nigga. So like, you know what I mean? But they opened up my cell and they told me like, don't let it happen again, or you're gonna see what's gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? So it was my wake up call to a lot of things, and I had to, in prison, especially if you know, you gotta adapt extremely fast, yo, or you gonna get your ass handed to you. So like, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
just what it is in there. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so this picture right here is a picture of you. This is in Clinton.
Yeah, that's in Clinton. That's I was probably there for a couple of months at that time. That's at the Maine, Clinton, Maine. Yup.
That's the so that's you.
Okay, wow,
That's your
crazy.
daughter Jada,
That's Jada. That's Ma. Yup.
and that's Ma. That's Ma
Mhm.
going. So this is you. This is no muscles. This ain't none of that. This is just you in there
Yeah.
with the green sweater. You know what I mean? Just you know what I mean?
That sweater was probably a extra small. You know what I mean?
You up in there, you know what I'm saying? And this is you in one of the work. And it's crazy because I'm looking at a picture of Mom right here, and I'm sure she has no idea that you at this moment is in one of the worst prisons in New York State.
Nah, she didn't know, and I wasn't gonna tell her. You know what I mean? You already know from me growing up with me that even when I was doing my dirt, like I never told y'all, you know what I mean, what I was doing. So I wasn't gonna tell her. I always wanted to see that when she came to see me that I was all right. You know what I mean? And I actually was, you know what I mean? I was all right.
All right, so your first day there, you in Clinton, right? You go to
Yeah.
your cell. Do your cell look like the same cell in Fishkill, or this one looks different? Describe what your
This is
cell looks
different.
like.
This is different. So this one is you behind bars, like what you see in the movies and everything, like you behind bars. You know what I mean? So in this particular cell that I was in, you know what I mean? Like, same thing. You have a bed with a mattress that's probably like this thick. You know what I mean? A toilet, a mirror that you can't even see yourself in because the mirror looked like some like wild plexiglass type clown, whatever that joint was that they had there, and you had a sink, you know what I mean? And it was different, you know what I mean? Like in the middle of the night, you see mice running in and out of your cell, you know what I mean? It was cold in there, wild cold. It was dark, you know what I mean? Like you hear other inmates, some dudes singing, some dudes crying, some dudes telling a nigga that's crying, yo, shut that, you know what I mean? Yo, shut up, nah. Like you just hear, like you hearing mad stuff in there, and I'm laying there my first night because we got to Clinton pretty late, so everything was pretty much shut down. You know what I mean at that time, so I'm just laying there and I'm listening to all of this stuff that's happening. You know what I mean? And then there comes a time where they shut down all the lights, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much when the tear and everything is quiet. But I was on a floor tear, then it's like two tears on top of that. You know what I mean?
And you hearing people yelling, you hearing people crying, you hearing
Yeah,
people
people
singing.
yelling, crying, singing, dudes talking to each other, you know what I mean? All type of stuff.
See
Like
that
they
that yeah,
got,
that makes me that's me hearing that it makes me feel like that's like a psychiatric center type of spot where it's like you hearing a lot of different types of noises
yeah.
happening. Some people is in their right mind, some people angry, some people sad, some people scared, all that kind of stuff, all in like one.
Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of emotions stirred up in one pot. You know what I mean? And that's what you had. Like especially you new there. My first night, that's what I heard. You know what I mean? So yeah,
So you there the first night, the next morning you wake up, this is your first day basically of your life in prison that's going to be for the next 8 or 9 years.
yeah.
What do you what it we I guess when you first come out your cell, what is that like? What you just out just with the rest of the inmates, or is it
So
with
so they have a CO that walk by and ask you if you want to go. to chow for breakfast. You know what I mean? So when you say yeah, they write down your cell, what I mean, whatever. And when it's time to go for chow, your cell open, you line up outside, and then they bring you into the mess hall.
So you went to breakfast that first morning.
That first morning with the breakfast, yeah.
And what breakfast look like in prison?
Disgusting. I don't even know what we had my first day there, you know what I mean? But the food there is they got this thing, they had this program called Quick Chill, where like pretty much your food is boiled in a bag and then served to you. You know what I mean? So the food there was definitely disgusting, always. You know what I mean? You're not getting no gourmet nothing there. You know what I mean? Like that joint is just wild nasty, everything. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? But so now I'm sitting at the table and there's rules in prison. You know what I mean? Like and this is one of my other rules that I learned, you know what I mean, sitting down at the table. Like you can't, like, if so you sit, it's me sitting here, there's a guy sitting here, there's a guy sitting here. So when you in the line or whatever, you come to sit down, you're supposed to pull the seat out for the next guy. It's out of respect, you know what I mean? I didn't know that. Mine was pulled out when I sat down, but I didn't pull out Paul's the guy who came to sit next to me, you know what I mean? So um when he sat down next to me, I seen that he had a little attitude, you know what I mean? But I see he like look over at me like, yo, looked at my number, and he was just like, yo, like, yo, you know? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, yo, listen. He was like, all right, like, yo, when you sit down, you gotta pull the seat out for the next man. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, all right, I didn't know that. He like, all right. And then I went to go turn around one time because I'm trying to see who's up in here. You know what I mean? So I went to go turn around, and he nudged me like, yo, like you can't move like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm looking at him like, what you talking about? He like, yo, if you want to turn around, you got to knock on the table and say, pardon me. And then you're able to turn around. He said, because any sudden move in here, a guy would take it like you about to hit him. And when a hit is when you either cut somebody with a razor or you stab somebody. So you just can't be sitting down and let me turn around and talk to my man that's 2 tables back. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You got to knock on the table to let these dudes know, like, yo, I'm about to turn around, part of my back. You know what I mean? So I learned that as well from this guy. So it's like, it's wild rules, you know what I mean, that I was learning like my first day.
That's crazy because at least he gave you a chance to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah,
know.
he looked at my number first. I better believe if I had an old number, we probably have been there fighting. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
okay. That's why he looked at your number.
that's why he looked at my number to see if like, and it was 02A. So 02A, you know what I mean? It was 2002. So
Mm.
that's he knew that I was new. Yeah.
So you eat. So that's crazy. I didn't. That's a lot. I didn't even know, and I thought I knew a few things about prison, what you being in there, but I didn't even know those rules at all. Like that
Yeah.
was you just taught me something new just now, right there. I didn't know they had rules like that in prison, especially just turning around. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
so after chow, you know, you what you do? Like, so you leave chow. Now, does chow look like how they describe it in the movies, where you got the lunch line, and somebody slopping some stuff on each person's plate while they walking by?
Yeah, just like that. That's a spitting image of what it is in there. It's just like that. Yep. You
And
in a
then it's like,
line, you put your plate up there, they put the food up there, you know what I mean? And then you just keep it moving.
and the inmates is the one serving the food to
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's like the kitchen job. Okay, cool. So, all right, so you there.
That's the most paid job is the serving food in the kitchen.
Now, how you get that job for being there a long time?
I was actually in the mess hall working on the line. It's being there for a little while. Yeah, you can put in for that.
I'm
Um,
sure it has something to do with behavior too, though, because they back there, there's no knives or nothing back there.
nah, no. It's none of that. I don't really know if it's on a behavior tip. I know they do a little screening or whatever, but yeah, I worked in the mess hall in Clinton Annex. We'll get to that, but I worked in the mess hall in Clinton Annex. I think like my 7th month in already.
All right, so you go from there. So where you go there? I mean, because you go. I heard stories about you going to the yard the first day.
Yeah. So from there, they let us.
Before you even say anything, though,
Mhm.
people don't do that.
Nah,
Being fresh in the prison.
nah.
Now, did you go out there because you was like, yo, listen, I ain't scared of nothing. I'm just gonna go out to the yard, or did you go out there like just not knowing what you was getting yourself into, just kind of doing some crazy joint, not even knowing what you was doing?
So I think I was naive to a lot of stuff when I got into prison. You know what I mean? Of me seeing how it was just from like my first few hours in. I was naive to what it really was. So for me, again, it was me going to the yard just to see what this was about. You know what I mean? Like to see what prison is really about. You know what I mean? And so when they asked if we wanted to go to like if I wanted to go out to the yard, I said yeah. Um, it was just that, you know what I mean? Like I went out to the yard to see what it was, you know what I mean? Like where that this is the so again at this time I didn't know the yard is where everything happens at. Again, you know what I mean? It's me learning as I'm going along. You know what I mean? I'm learning as time is going by. And mind you, this is only my second day. I don't even think I got a full 24 hours in Clinton yet. You know what I mean? I went out to the yard.
So what
Just
the yard look like? Explain to what the yard look like. And like once again, when I watch certain movies, they got the guy on the tower with the gun.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
there. They definitely got the guy up in the tower. But yo, Clinton is when I walked out there, Clinton was like the size of maybe like 2 football fields. It was mad big. Like the outside yard was mad big. It was mad dudes out there. You had on top of the hill, you had like they had like the basketball court that was all the way on top of the hill. They had the phones. I remember being on the left hand side that was on the ground. I remember the it was like gravel, like almost like sand. You know what I mean? That was on the ground for you to walk on and stuff like that. And yeah, man, I went out there and was like, this is where I witnessed what prison was really about. You know what I mean?
all
Like
right,
I've
so
seen.
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So you on the yard, what you see out on the yard? You know what I'm saying? Like what I mean, everything. Like explain to the people, first time in prison, 22 years old, you in one of the worst prisons in New York State. You go into the yard was considered probably one of the worst areas you could be at in
Definitely.
prison.
Yeah, definitely.
And you walk out there and what is that?
So yeah, I walk out there and I'm seeing for the first time, I'm seeing like now mind you, this is back in 2002. I'm seeing guys holding hands. I'm seeing guys with breasts, with like red lipstick on, walking around, switching like they females. You know what I mean? I'm seeing I'm just seeing like wild different groups of guys over here, some over here. It was very segregated, you know what I mean? So it was like it was like the blacks was over here, you had the whites over here, you had the Asians over here, you know what I mean? It was everything was pretty much segregated when I went out there, but it was like it was a rotation of things. Like it was just so much happening. You had guys on top of the hill playing basketball. You had some guys that's coming off the hill that was they had like grills out there where you can grill and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it was guys out there that was grilling, eating and stuff. Like it was the size of like 2 football fields, and when it was mad big, it reminded me of like the movie Gladiator. You know what I mean? When they out there, they in that little, I don't even know what you call that, but they like in like a field
Yeah.
and they
With
fighting each
like
other.
the bleachers things around.
Yeah, so it kind of looked like that, you know what I mean? Just way more dirty, you know what I mean? So I'm out there, you know what I mean? I'm walking around not knowing nobody at this time, you know what I mean? I'm just
Probably breaking rules. You know what I mean? You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm sure there was some rules out there. You
I
walking
definitely
past dudes.
I definitely was probably breaking mad rules because I didn't know if I was supposed to be standing over here, over there. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm just spinning the yard looking around and stuff. You know what I mean? Like just seeing things for what it was. And I mean, I had a few guys grilling me. You know what I mean? I had this one dude come up to me and ask me where I came, where I was from. You know what I mean? He was like, "Yo, you look just like my brother." You know what I mean? But you can't in prison, son. Like you can't trust nobody. You know what I mean? And that was one thing that I knew. Like, son came up to me out of nowhere, like, "Yo, where you from?" You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, "I'm from Poughkeepsie." He was like, "Oh, all right." He was like, "Nah, you look like my brother. Yo, that's crazy." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Oh, all right." You know what I mean? He spins off. You know what I mean?
And you still at this point, yeah, there's no nerves in you right now. When you walking by all of these dudes and you by yourself right now, there's
Yeah.
no, you don't feel no fear, nothing.
Nah, I don't feel fair, but I was nervous because it's something new for me. You know what I mean? Like it's not me. It's like the unknown. Like you hear about this stuff or you see these things on in movies and stuff like that. And it's like here it is. I'm actually living it. Like I'm walking the yard of Clinton where you hear stories about dudes getting stabbed up out here, cut, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? I'm here. You know what I mean? So it was more like me just being aware, you know what I mean, of my surroundings at this time. Like, I was very skeptical of a lot of different stuff. Like even when son came up to me, I was skeptical, like who's this dude coming up to me out of nowhere? It's like 100, like 200-300 guys out here. Like, why you coming up to me asking me where I'm from? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're on the yard, you know what I'm saying? You described it, people over there, you got the, Hispanics over there, you got the whites over there, you got the blacks over there. So basically, you just walking through, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Are you walking through like just trying to see what everything is about, or you just kind of, and I'm like, you didn't know where you should be at, basically.
That's exactly what it was. I didn't fit in. I didn't know where I was supposed to be. You know what I mean? At that time, like I'm just out there. You know what I mean? I'm like 130 pounds soaking wet. You know what I mean? I didn't know where I was supposed to be. I'm just walking around looking, you know what I mean, and just absorbing my surroundings at that time, which was wild crazy. It was like a whole bunch of things going on at once. You know what I mean? You had dudes playing soccer, you had dudes playing basketball, you know what I mean? You had guys that are just spinning yard with each other. Dudes was on the phone. You had the workout area. You know what I mean? It was just a whole bunch of stuff going on at once.
And in this type of prison, of course, of me, of what I read about it, while you was on the yard, there was all different kind of dudes on that yard.
Yeah.
Probably killers, serial killers,
Yeah.
rapists, everybody all on the yard together.
Uh-huh.
Just and you just walking through there as a 22-year-old kid, where you just surrounded by wild killers and wild people around. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So when you go there, like, what happens? Like you go to the yard, and so explain. Tell us when went on while you was while you was on the yard.
So now I'm in the yard. I probably was out there for like a good hour or so, you know what I mean? And then they was asking everybody, like they was lining up outside for people to go in for chow. I think that was lunchtime. Yeah, it was lunch because I went for breakfast already. So this is for lunch. You got to line up outside to go into the mess hall. And so as I'm lining up outside, you know what I mean, as I'm getting in the line and everything, um is when I seen one of the dudes from the town, you know what I mean, by the name of Old Diggs. You know what I mean? Old Diggs was in Clinton for I don't know how long he was there when I had met him.
No, wait, no. Old Diggs is somebody you knew from Poughkeepsie when you was out there.
Yes, I didn't know Old Diggs at this. I didn't know him personally. I knew of him. Um, I met him a couple of times when I went to go visit Gauzy when Gauzy was in, I think, Green. This is before I got locked up. When I went to go visit Gauzy in Green, I remember seeing Old Diggs on the visiting floor with Gauzy. And I remember asking Gauzy, like, yo, how he get Jordans in here? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I remember Old Dick saying, like, yeah, you like these, right? You know what I mean? And so that was our very, very first. It's funny how, you know what I mean, things work, you know what I mean? Because this was many, 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 many years later when I met him in the yard. But it's like it was a connection, you know what I mean, at that time. So it's like, you know, I'm seeing this guy wearing Jordans. This is my first time going to prison and go visit Gauzy, and I'm seeing old Diggs and on a visiting floor, and he's showing me his Jordans, like, yeah, these Jordans is fly, right? You know what I mean? And now here it is years later, you know what I mean? I'm gonna say about like had to been maybe about like maybe 5-6 years later. I'm meeting the same guy in a whole different another prison. You know what I mean? Now I'm in here. You know what I'm saying? So when he see me, I was like, yo, Diggs. He like, yo, you from the town? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, Gauzy's cousin. He was like, yo, what are you doing in here? You know what I mean? And then that was that's you know, first of all, rest in peace, you know what I mean, to old Diggs. You know what I mean? You know, unfortunately he lost his life, you know what I mean, when he came home. You know, I know there's a lot of people that have their stories with him, but my story with old Diggs is nothing other than, you know what I mean, he put me under his wing and showed me the ins and out of prison. You know what I mean? When he didn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, son showed me how to move in there. He was like, yo, you got mad time, you skinny, you gotta start working out. You know what I mean? He's like, they gonna try you. He put me on to the do's and don'ts, like, you know what I mean, stay out of the gangs, stay away from gambling, you know what I mean? And he was just saying, he always tell me, he was like, yo, if a dude fronts on you, take his head off immediately. You know what I mean? He said, don't allow anybody to disrespect you in here, because if you do, that's gonna be your bid for the rest of your bid. Like, dudes is gonna look at you like, you know what I mean, you soft. They're gonna disrespect you for the rest of your bid. He said, so if anybody ever violates you or whatever, just pop off on them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you gotta do to let them know, like, you know, pushover. So, you know what I mean? Old Diggs showed me around Clinton, bro. Like, you know what I mean? He showed me the ins and the outs. I remember when I was on my tier. He was on a whole different other tier, and I was on my tier, and he was like, yo, don't go to the bathhouse no more. I'm gonna have the porter on your tier bring you hot water in the morning. He said, because the bathhouse that's crazy. Like, dudes get killed in it. You know what I mean? He said, so don't even go up in there. And he did just that. You know what I mean? He had the porter on my tier bring me hot water every morning so I can wash up in my cell. He set me out with a package and everything. Like, son looked out for me. And I think it was mainly because it was a couple of reasons. It was mainly because Gauzy's my cousin. You know what I mean? I showed some of my paperwork. He read everything. He respected that. You know what I mean? And then also, I remember him saying to me, he's like, yo, so when I met him in the yard that day, when I went out there and we was lining up for chow, he was just like, yo, when did you get here? And I was like, yo, I got here last night. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I got here last night. He was like, yo, like, he said, yo, that's crazy. He's like, yo, this guy's in this jail right now from the town, from Poughkeepsie, that have never came to this yard. They've been here for over a year and some change. He said, here it is. You come out the next day. So he, you know, old Diggs was a gangster, you know what I mean? So he respected that. Like, he was just like, yo, son came to the yard on some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I told him, I
Because
just,
the yard was a place that was why would people be scared to go to the yard when they first get there?
so, for instance, now after meeting Diggs, you know what I mean, that day, every day and every day after, this is like the third day, I'm coming to the yard to meet up with him. You know what I mean? Son giving me the jewels, the you know what I mean, the do's and the don'ts and everything. And he introduced me to a lot of good guys because, you know, old Diggs was Muslim. You know what I mean, at that time. So he was with the Muslims and everything. So I'm sitting in the yard with the Muslims and all everything, and I'm just listening to the different stories and all that. But old Diggs was the first guy that showed me like my first hit in the yard. So I guess dudes knew that it was a guy that was gonna get hit up in the yard. And I mean, a hit is when somebody gets stabbed or cut in the yard. So he told me to spin the yard with him. I spent with him, and he told me to look. So up on the hill, all you see is like it's these two dudes walking towards this one guy, right? So what happened was one of the guys bumped this dude, right? One guy stayed back. The first guy went and bumped this dude. When he bumped the dude, that dude turned around, and the guy behind him came up behind him and hit him. You know what I mean? Just caught him, bum bum. You know what I mean? And then all you see is the they call it bangers. That's like the weapons that they have in prison. They call bangers. All you see is that joint being floated around. Like it's over here. Next minute, this guy got it. He moves over here. So it's being pretty much hidden from what just happened. You know what I mean? Sun collapsed. And the only thing that happened was the infirmary came out and picked him up and took him out of the yard. They never shut anything down, which I thought was weird because I'm like, your guy just got stabbed. Maybe they didn't know that he was stabbed, but maybe they seen it on camera or whatever, that he collapsed or whatever the case may be. But Diggs showed me my first hit in the yard, son. So the yard is where everything happens at. You know what I mean? Everything. Like,
wow, that's
that
crazy.
was my third day in Clinton. Third day. Going to the yard. I seen that with my own eyes. You know what I mean? My third day.
That's crazy. Now that's wow. That's so you see somebody get stabbed on your third day.
Yeah.
At this point now, I guess you found old Diggs. Well, y'all bumped into each other. Somebody now the fact that you ran into somebody that you kind of knew from where you were from, which is Poughkeepsie, New York. Did that make you feel? Did that help you get more comfortable into prison? Because now it's like you ain't out there by yourself no more. Now
Yeah,
you got somebody.
I definitely got more comfortable while I was there with him, simply because of how much respect that he had there. You know what I mean? And the different moves that he was making for me to be okay where I was at on my tier, just off the strength. You know what I mean? So I definitely felt more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I said, every time I came to the yard, I went over there where he was at with the Muslims, and you know what I mean, calling myself trying to do pull-ups, because he was just like, yo, son, like, you wild skinny. Like, they gonna try you, you know what I mean? You gotta get your weight up in here, you know what I mean? So, you know, old Diggs was the reason why I even started working out on my bed, you know what I mean? Because, you know, it was the words that he said. So it was almost like you go to prison, you don't know nobody, and then boom, somebody comes up to you that you have no at the time, and it's just like, you know, giving you everything that you need to survive for the rest of your bid. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take heed to what he's saying, because he's already been down for some years at this time. You know what I mean? So you're gonna listen to what he's telling you. You know what I mean? And everything that he told me helped me on my bed. Like everything, I lived by that for the next 8 years on my bed. You know what I mean? Of what he said.
So tell me about the day when somebody actually they tried. You got tried though, like he said.
I definitely got tried. So now I'm in. So I didn't get tried in the main. They moved
and
me.
Explain to people what tried mean, for people that don't know the prison lingo.
To get tried is for somebody to pull your gangster card to see, you know what I mean, what you about. You know what I mean? See if you soft, or you about fighting for yours. So I didn't get tried until I was moved over next door to Clinton Annex. So the difference between the main and the annex, the main is behind a wall and you in a cell. The annex is behind fences, and you're not in a cell. You're in these things it's like cookie cutters. So it's almost like when you see the military, where it's like a divider, a bed, a divider, a bed.
Like cubicles almost.
Like cubicles, you know what I mean? It's the worst thing. I would have rather have been in a cell, because now you're still in a max, but now you don't have nothing protecting you. Like, you're not like anybody could just run up in your cubicle and do whatever they want to do to you. You know what I mean? So I used to sleep with my boots on for like 2 years straight. You know what I mean? Like, I used to sleep.
Now why though? Why are you sleeping with your boots on?
I'm sleeping with my boots on because so when they send me to the annex, they sent me to 40 building. Anybody that ever been in Clinton know what 40 building is about. 40 building is Royal Rumble over there. Like, you know what I mean? It's where all of the guys that, you know what I mean, when they first come to different prisons, they come to 40 building. So it's a lot of mix, you know what I mean, characteristics, ethnicities, gangs. We all underneath this one, you know what I mean, roof over on 40 building as well. You know what I mean? So I used to just sleep with my boots on, just in case somebody run up in my cubicle. I'm ready to get busy. So anyway, the first time I got tried is when I was in the bathroom, and I went to go early in the morning. I went to go brush my teeth, and I'm brushing my teeth, and it's about like maybe like 10, 12 sinks in this bathroom, right? I'm like probably in the middle part. some big brother, dark skinned dude came up in there, you know what I mean, and came right next to the sink next to me. It's just me and him in there. You know what I mean? I don't even know who this dude was at the time. You know what I mean? And I'm brushing my teeth, some brushing his teeth, and he spit. And when he spit, his toothpaste got on my hand. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, bro, you just spit on me. My man looked at me and was like, and instantly, you know what I mean? I'm going off of what Dick said, like, yo, as soon as somebody violate, take their head off. So as soon as he said I knew then, like, all right, this is son trying me. So I immediately punched son in his face. Like, yo, what you mean and hit him? I mean, my son just did the like, oh, word. And
wait. So at this point in time in prison, you at the weight class where
130.
your punches is oh word. It
My
ain't
punches had no power whatsoever. Like when I hit son, I knew it was over. Like I knew it was. I was like, he about to wash me, but still, it was my showing him, like, you know what I mean? I ain't you got wild muscles, cool. I see that, but nigga, you ain't gonna disrespect me. You know what I mean? I know I'm light skinned, green eyes, but you know what I mean, you just spit on me. Like, I'd have punched somebody in the face at that weight class in the town if they would have did that. You know what I mean?
so you lost that fight though.
I lost that fight. Definitely lost that fight. But the funny thing about it is, like, Son he didn't want to hit me in my face because he knew that it would have brought, you know what I mean, the COs, you know what I mean, to like question, like, yo, what happened? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Because a lot of dudes, like, you see a lot of dudes with like busted lips, nose, eyes, and everything, and the COs will come and they be like, yo, what happened? If you don't want to tell, they send that person to the box. You know what I mean? And if he tells, then the person that beat him up is gonna go to box and catch a new charge. So my son was just putting the body blows on me. So like, he was just like all up in it. Like, yo, son, I'm like 127, 130 at the time, feeling every son. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. For like the next 2 days, son, like I think I was even pissing blood at one point. Like son put the beats on me. But the thing is that he came back to me, you know what I mean? Maybe like I think like 4 or 5 days later. I don't know the how long it was, but he came back to me because he's seen that now one, I didn't rat on him. I didn't tell on him. I didn't like, yo, this guy just beat me up after spitting on me and with toothpaste. You know what I mean? But the fact that also I stalled off. When you stall off on a person, it's like when you hit the person first. Like I punched something in his face, and he respected that. He's like, yo, bro, like, you know what I mean? He was like, he came to me. He was like, yo, he apologized. He's like, yo, my bad. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, I see you a little cool. You a little cool, nigga. You ain't trying to get into nothing. I see you got a new number. You know what I mean? He apologized. And I mean, then he respected the fact that I didn't say nothing. I took that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But that was just like my initiation of being tried. That was the first time I got tried. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my very, very first try from some brolic dark skinned dude, son, that just beat me up for no reason. Like, you know what I mean?
Now, out of all 9 years or 8 years and some change you was in prison, how many fights did you get into, or was it a couple of fights and then after that it kind of was smooth sailing after that?
The majority of my fights was in Clayton Annex. I was fighting a lot. I maybe had around the year that I was there, maybe like 4 or 5. And there's all of them joints was always in the shower room, you know what I mean, or the bathroom, like, you know what I mean, because that's where the COs can't really see what's going on. You know what I mean? So at that time, I'm just getting it, like I'm fighting, you know what I mean? But
now you starting some of these fights now?
nah, I never start nothing. It's always dudes that try me because of my skin complexion, green eyes, whatever. They feel like, oh, he got a new
Like
number.
this Al B. Shore looking.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's pretty nigga head, like, yo, you know what I mean? So I remember it was one time, you know what I mean, one of the fights that had happened. I had these red and gray Tims sent to me, you know what I mean? So I'm wearing red and gray Tims, and it was these two blood dudes that was in my house that was supposed to have like stole. Well, they was supposed to have gotten an order from some top blood dude from another house to steal my boots from me. You know what I mean? And one of my little homies at that time, he was blood. He was in the gym, and he told me, you know what I mean? He was like, yo, two blood dudes in the house supposed to be stealing your boots. He said, so, you know what I mean? If I was you, you already know what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I bet. You know what I mean? So when I get back from the gym, we go, you know what I mean, back to the cube. It's crazy because that picture that you see, right? It's funny that all this is you just posted this picture because the dude in front of me, literally his cube was right next to me. That's Mussolini. That's Papoose brother. You know what I mean? Funny dude. So anyway, we get back. I put my boots on top of the divider. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, like you niggas are supposed to steal my boots. You know what I mean? They looking at me like, what? I'm like, yo, go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Go to sleep. You know what I mean? Went in there, and it was this other dude from the town named D. I forgot his name, but D went up in there. Went in there with me too. Pause, and he held me down, and I just put the beats on this dude. Like, I mean, at that time, it was just like, you know, at this time, I'm like pretty much into prison now. Like, I already know I'm filling it out. I already know what I got to do. So I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, I think supposed to steal this. Here, take this. And I mean, I put the beats on, son.
And this is still your first year.
My first year, yeah. So I, you know what I mean, I put the beats on him. D put the beats on the other dude, you know what I mean, and got them dudes up out the house. You know what I mean? Those dudes end up leaving, you know what I mean? And I remember my son Haiti, Nip Nip, you know what I mean? Shout out to Haiti, man. I remember Nip Nip went to the head blood dude, you know what I mean, told him, like, yo, listen, yo, son ain't no slouch, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't gonna let nobody, talking about me, like, yo, he ain't gonna let nobody take nothing from him, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like he get busy. Like Nip talk, he stepped up for me, talk to the head blood dude for me. And come to find out, that blood dude he didn't even send that order. He was like, yo, I don't know nothing about that. You know what I mean? But those two dudes that we beat up one of them ended up getting cut. I don't know who cut him, but you know what I mean, he ended up getting sent out of the jail. You know what I mean? And that was that with that. You know what I mean?
So the whole time, you know, you calling home, we writing you, we asking you, are you good? This comment. This is for mom right here. Mom, the whole time we writing him and he calling something he good. He in there fighting in the bathroom.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know, prison is a whole different other world inside of a world. You know what I mean? So it's different rules to it. You know what I mean? I was just living by those rules in there, man. Like that's just what it was. You know what I mean? That's just who I became while I was in there.
Now tell me, now you in prison. Tell me what I just mentioned phone calls and letters just now. What does that look like in prison? Like this is your first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does letters and prison letters, phone calls, and visits
Mm-hmm.
explain? You can go each one of those, explain how that works. Each one of them. You can start with letters. How do letters go?
So letters normally come in every day around 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? The different jails, the different prisons that I was in, letters mail always came between like I say 3:30. You know what I mean? And what it is like whatever CO was on that day, she'll call your name and you be like, yo, Watkins, Mel. You know what I mean? So after she does her round or he does his round, you go to the office and you pick up your mail. I was getting mad. I was getting mad mail. Mad mail.
So you was getting a whole bunch of mail from
Yeah.
family, girls.
Girls, definitely, yeah.
So what the girls was doing? Or they were sending you flicks and all that?
The girls were sending flicks, you know what I mean? They spray with their little perfume or whatever, sending you know, bikinis and thongs and all that, you know what I mean? Something to just keep a guy floating, you know, while he's doing his bid, you know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, you know what I mean? That was getting mail from anybody really is a great feeling, you know what I mean, when they calling your name, because it's like there's somebody on the outside that's actually thinking of you enough to sit down and send you something, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't get that, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of guys who don't even have families, or they do, and their family don't even check for them while they're in prison, you know what I mean? But fortunately for me, I didn't have that problem, you know what I mean? I had a lot of visits, I had a lot of mail coming through, a lot of packages, you know what I mean? So I was fortunate to have the family, you know what I mean, and the females at that time that, you know, really loved me at that time to come check me. You know what I mean?
Now speaking, now you mentioned packages. Now what that look like? Now you one of the dudes in prison. I know because me, Ma, you know what I'm saying? We at that time we was walking with you through these times. So I know what the packages look like because I remember having to get them from the store. The first time getting your packages, we didn't realize certain things you couldn't have. Like we don't really, everything had to be kind of in a package, nothing metal, no, what I'm saying? We wasn't able to send a lot of other like stuff that I remember I was coming in there with a box and they taking stuff out. He can't have this, he can't have that.
Yeah.
But being a person that was getting boxes and stuff, uh, in prison, does that make you a person like resourceful? Like, yo, dude got stuff, or do that make you a target? Like, what does that mean when you're a person that get a lot of stuff in prison? Are you favored? Like yo, I'm about to be friends with this dude. This dude getting a lot of stuff from his family. Let me
You're
link up with.
definitely, yeah, you're definitely, I won't say favor, but you definitely respect it. When they see that you always going down on visits or you getting packages, you know what I mean? So yeah, like you definitely, you one of those guys that other guys, I don't ever like calling them inmates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's other guys in prison, other men in prison, they see that, they respect that because they see that, like, you have loved ones. You know what I mean? You was actually about something in a town for your loved ones to come check you and send you packages and mail the way that they do. So you are respected. And I mean, definitely respected when it comes to that.
I remember you calling me up, telling me like, "Yo, son, I need you to send me some cigarettes, carton of cigarettes up to the prison." Right?
Yeah,
I don't know if you had a business going. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I don't know if you was the cigarette dude. But
yeah.
why did you need? Or was you up there smoking? You know what I mean? You smoking Newports?
De-
Like
Definitely not. I ain't never smoked a
I
cigarette
think
in
they
my
was Marlboro those. I'm not even sure. I don't
life.
smoking a cowboy cigarette.
Nah, so I was hustling, you know what I mean? I was up there, I was hustling, you know what I mean? I was selling it, they call them bricks, you know what I mean? So like when you send me a package, when you send me like a carton of cigarettes, I'm selling them joints for every bit of like $7, $8 at that time, you know what I mean? And or I sell it to a person and tell them like, oh, this is what I want off a commissary for this. So I was hustling, you know what I mean? I was using those cigarettes to hustle.
But you said $7. How you get paid though?
So if I give it to him for $7, right? I get $7 off of his commissary. You know what I mean? So I give him a list of what I want
That equals
off
up
of
to
his
$7.
commissary. He gives that back to me in full because I don't smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys who can't get, you know what I mean, cigarettes, or people send them cigarettes from home. You guys was sending that joint to me, you know what I mean? And I was just in there
I
flipping
was
it.
getting them joints from Sam's Club. Crazy.
Yeah,
But
I was in there
so
flipping
what
them.
was the most valuable thing out of things you can have in prison? What's the most valuable things in prison?
What you mean?
Like you said, you had cigarettes, so obviously that was a huge demand for those because dudes can't get cigarettes, but they still addicted to cigarettes in prison. They almost give up anything. Let me get one cigarette. But besides cigarettes, what else in prison that's considered valuable in prison?
I mean, drugs, like the same drugs that's out here on the streets is in prison. You know what I mean? Like there's guys getting high in prison, like they getting high out here in the streets.
I know drugs would be. I'm not really talking about drugs, though. I'm talking about something that's not drugs. Like how valuable is like I forgot what movie I was watching when dude was like, "Yo, he could get you McDonald's in here." Is that false?
It's not false. Is if you got a connection with a CO in there, yeah, you can get whatever you want in there. You know what I mean? Like that's a fact.
So dudes be in there eating McDonald's.
It's some dudes. It's some dude. I ain't gonna say McDonald's, but it was definitely some dudes that was in there getting food and stuff that was coming from the town. That's a fact. You know what I mean? That's a whole fact.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I always see different movies where they were like, "Yo, my man in here, he can get you whatever you want. He can get you me." I think it was Chris Rock. It was a Chris Rock movie. I think it was Stomp the Yard or something like that.
Yeah, I
So
guess it depends on how close you get with a CEO because a lot of them CEOs is, after you gotta understand something. As much as we doing a bid, so is those CEOs. They do bids too. Every day they come in The only thing is they go home at the end of the night, but they doing a bid right along with you. They 8 hours is they 8 hours with you. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they on point just as well as we are, because you know what I mean, it could be a guy that just got bad news. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody close to him died or whatever the case may be, or maybe his girl that he had on his bed say, I can't do this no more, and left the nigga, you know what I mean? And he might snap, you know what I mean, just want to pop off on a police officer or on a CO. So they be on point just as well as us, you know what I mean? So a lot of them know what it is, you know what I mean? If you get cool with one of them, then they might slide you a little something, you know what I mean? Like, yo, here, you know what I mean? They might,
Now you mentioned relationships in prison. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Um, you've had a few relationships when you was locked up for those years.
I had two,
Um,
yeah.
too. So how does that, not in hindsight that you home and you've been home for years now, do do you recommend, this is a question now. You would do who was locked up before
Hmm.
and had two relationships in prison.
Hmm.
Talking to women right now, do you recommend, it's gonna be a tricky question too. Do you recommend them starting a relationship with a dude locked up in prison, or is that joint nothing they should be doing? You know what I mean? I'm gonna put you on full screen too. Nah, yeah,
I'm always gonna recommend for you to look out for a dude that's locked up in prison that's doing time.
I
Always.
ain't say look out. I said get with him. That's your man.
That's my
You know what I mean?
man.
Not you. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the girl. Like, do you recommend her basically saying like, yo, I'm not talking about if they was locked up, like before you went in, that was his girl, and she doing a bid with him. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you in jail, your man talking about his cousin look good. Tell her to come visit me real quick. All of a sudden, that's your girlfriend. She's sending you commissary money and all that. Now, is that something you talking to for a dude that was locked up,
Yeah.
now is home? Talk to the women. Do you? I know you're gonna always say like, listen, hold a dude down. Matter of fact, I might not should even put you in that situation. That might.
Yo, because I that happened to me. You know what I mean? That happened to me towards the end of my bid. When
Do you think girls is wasting their time though?
some are, yeah, some are like when I'm gonna tell you, the ones that's wasted their time is the ones that's not matching up with the dude that's in prison. Like you got a brolic dude, you know what I mean? That he can get any type of girl if he was free. You know what I mean? And you coming up there looking like these COs, yeah, you wasting your time, shorty. Like that's a whole fact. You definitely wasting your time because if he ever get out, you never gonna hear from him again. Like that's a
Wait a minute. So wait. So he using her for like what? Commissary packages,
he could be using her for
letters.
anything. Like yeah, visits, commissary, just a companion. Like
So it's
just
survival mode, basically.
definitely in survival mode. Definitely, yeah. Like you know what I mean. I seen it. Like I seen guys that can easily bag. You know what I mean. A celebrity out here having some crazy looking joints coming to see him.
I didn't understand this in the beginning because I remember me going to see you sometimes, and I be seeing like a young dude, black dude, and he slobbing down this old white lady.
Yeah, survival. You know what I mean? Packages. You know what I mean? Commissary, money. You know what I mean? Yeah, survival.
I
You gotta do
seen
what
that.
you
Like
gotta do.
that's a real thing. Speaking of that, now we talking about visiting.
Mhm.
Let's get to the visiting now. Now I'm gonna speak from my end. You know what I'm saying? Coming in, that's a whole, for people who've never visited anybody in prison, that's a whole other thing. Like you go there from the outside in, you go through the metal detectors, you taking off your belt, emptying your pockets, all that kind of stuff. And then you go into another room or whatever. You sit down at these tables, there's vending machines in there, and we wait for y'all to come out.
Yeah.
And that's how it usually works, right?
Mhm.
So first of all, how important it is, and I know it is, but I want you to explain to the people, from somebody that's been locked up, how important is visits, not just for you, but just for your, I would say almost like a survival in prison.
It's very important, you know what I mean? Because it shows the CEOs that you actually have family out there that loves you enough to come visit you, especially from the many hours that you guys was traveling, you know what I mean, to come check me. So it pretty much put like a some type of security over you to the point to where they know like they just can't do anything to you because you have family out here that's definitely gonna check and see like, yo, what's going on, what happened, you know what I mean? So they don't really mess with the ones that's always down on the visiting floor and stuff like that. They only mess with the guys who really don't get mail, you know what I mean, who don't get visits, you know what I mean, like you're a target. So those type of guys should always be quiet excuse me, when they in prison. Because if you one of them loud dudes and you don't have nobody come to check you, you ain't get no mail. Yeah, you lining yourself up. So for anything to happen, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna check you, and they know that. Them COs know that. They vicious.
So you on the visiting floor, right? You come down. Now. Tell me the process of you leaving your cell,
The
like all
process
the way
of
down to where you
visit
see
is
us.
it's a bittersweet situation because it's like it's sweet because you got family, you know what I mean, that you haven't seen probably for a month or so. You guys was coming to check me on a regular. So it's always good to see family, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like it's degrading, it's bitter because they make you strip down naked. You gotta bend over, spread your cheeks, you cough and all of this wild stupid stuff just to go down on a visit. And then you gotta do it again, you know what I mean, after the visit. You know what I mean? So it's like a degrading, but at the same time, enjoyment to be down there with your family. You know what I mean? But after years, I never ever got used to it. Never. I never would, never will. But after years, it just become numb. It's like, yeah, this is what I got to do to see my family. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? Because they're not letting you see your family without you stripping naked. That's a fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because dudes. Well, I don't know about dudes, but I know women when they sometimes go to visits, they sneak stuff in there.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
I know you know nothing about it, but I know that happens, and I know I
I know.
know
I know. We were switching sneakers off on the visiting floor
we
though.
actually could talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
Because I
talk
come
about
to
that.
visit you one time. I just bought. Matter of fact, and I might even have some. I might even have a picture somewhere. Yeah, I think I do. I think it might be this picture. Yeah, here we go. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
come
yeah.
on. I come on the visiting floor, and I got on these New Balances. You know what I'm saying? Like they
They
ain't New
blew.
Balance.
They blew, by the way, too. So
Yeah,
that's
the
very
the blue
important.
New Balances. I bought me some New Balances. Shout out to my cousin Derek, because my cousin Derek had me buying New Balances all the time. So I'm buying New Balances. You know what I'm saying? I go up on the visiting floor. You look up under the table like, yo, son, yo, let me get these, right? And me being like happy to see you, all that, you know what I'm saying, full of emotions. I'm up here kicking my shoes up off under the table. I take the shoes you got on, you take my New Balances, and
Yeah,
now you walking, you back in there with my New Balances on. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
When I look back in it, and I remember going home, right? Because I think I came to see you by myself when I did that. I remember going home and telling mom, like, yo, mom, yeah, me and Sean switched sneakers, you know what I mean, on the visiting floor. Like, you idiot. You could have been in there with him. Like, because technically that was like
it
that's
was
contraband.
yes, contraband. Yeah, I would have never had let you fall for that. I'd have took the blame for that.
Nah,
But
I
yeah,
know,
we
but I don't think
definitely.
you could have. I don't think you could have. If
I
once
would have
they
told
see
them that
us,
I would have told them I made you do that. Like, trust me, I was gonna hold that. But the thing is, right? We did that. But what the people need to know is them joints was blue. You cannot have blue nothing in prison at
you know what?
all.
I'm glad you said that, right? Because first of all, you in there with them red boots, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like you was in there kind of like you was being a magnet a little bit because you in there with them red boots, fighting with the Bloods. Now you in there with them blue sneakers that you ain't supposed to be having.
And immediately the CEOs noticed that, like, yo, how did you get these? You know what I mean? Like, who let you in with blue sneakers? You know what I mean? They didn't catch it that day when we switched. They caught it maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a week or two later. They see me with it on,
Oh
and
wait,
they
so hold up. They see me switch under the table?
no, they never see you switch.
Oh,
They
all
never
right.
seen that. They never seen you switch.
Ain't
But
gonna
I'm
go. He
saying
had
they
him.
see me with them joints on, maybe like in a gym or something, and I got pulled over. Like, yo, who allows you to have these blue sneakers in here? You know what I mean? And I was rocking them joints for a minute, son.
So
Like,
what happened? They took them.
no, they ain't never take them joints. I had them. Like, I wasn't that. They was in there. They gave me flack about it because you're not supposed to have blue anything because the COs wear blue. You know what I mean? And then like the Crips where like they was wearing purple. Like you can have purple in there, but blue was a no. You know what I mean? And I definitely had them blue New Balances in there. That's a fact.
You know what? I'm gonna get to while we talking about visiting Florida, and I'm gonna say this for the people because we being transparent, right? What was your fascination with cherry almond lotion? Listen, yo, for the people that don't know, that's something that was one of his requests all the time. Like, what I'm saying? When we sent him packages, that's something that he always had on his list. Like, yo, bring me this, bring me that, and it wasn't just a regular Jergens lotion. He really liked cherry almond lotion to the point now I buy it. Matter of fact, I should have brought it downstairs because I got some upstairs right now. But what was it? What was it about the cherry almond you like?
All right, so the cherry almond, first of all, came from before I got locked up. You know what I mean? Grandma put me on to that. You know what I mean? And so I love the way cherry almond smells. You know what I mean? It was cherry almond lotion is amazing. So me, before I got locked up, I was always into always smelling good. You know what I mean? Looking good. So you can't have cologne in prison. You know what I mean? You can't have that in prison. But you could definitely have cherry almond lotion, Jergens in prison. You know what I mean? So I'm in there smelling good. My name like that. That's just what it was. Like I wanted to smell. You're around men. You know what I mean? 24/7 for many, many years. It's the most degrading, disgusting thing you can ever be. Like, I mean, when they take women out of the equation, you just around men. Like you know what I mean? I just wanted to like feel that part of freedom just a little bit. Like, I mean, like you got a stink dude that's sitting next to you, you know what I mean? Or in the cube next to you that haven't washed in forever, you know what I mean? And then, me, like I want to be smelling. I was smelling good in there, man. Like that's a fact. I was looking good and I was smelling good. I'm in at this point in my bed. I'm in now. Like I'm comfortable. You know what I mean? This is probably like the 5th or 6th year in. You know what I mean? I'm wild comfortable.
So you out there, we searching all over the place. You know what I'm saying? We trying to find the lotions. We trying to, you know what I mean? Whatever you needed at the time, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, but go ahead.
What you say? Say what you said?
I said for you to bring up lotion while in prison is crazy. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you have that.
Listen, come on, man. Like everybody know, you know what I'm saying? We know, and like you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? While you in prison, I ain't think that was the reason why. That's not why we. I know we wasn't you buying you the lotion, but only that.
Yeah. Yo, this dude here, yo. All right.
That's crazy. But you know what I'm saying? But it lets you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing we wouldn't do. Because it's crazy because even at that time, like when we look back at it, Ma's a church going woman. We grew up in the church and all that kind of stuff too. But I'll be looking back, I'll be talking to mom, like, yo, mom, remember when we was sending Sean them cigarettes and stuff to sell in prison? She was like, Corey, I don't even know why. I don't even know how I even allowed. You see how desperate? She's like, you see how desperate I was? Like, I knew that first. I knew that was kind of illegal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
kind of illegal. But at that time, when you in survival mode and you got somebody that you love in prison, and me, you and mom, like we like the foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like before anybody, it was us. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else comes after that. So that was like our circle. That a piece of it broke off and was locked up. So me and mom, we in desperation mode. Like you could have asked us to send anything. We'd have been like, yo, let's see if we can get it up there to him, because we just wanted to make sure. Like I knew you as my brother, and you taught me how to fight, and you taught me all this kind of stuff too. But I've heard the way they describe prison, and we'll get to that like right now. The way they describe prison when you're younger is like a place where you go in there and get raped and all that kind of stuff. So in our mind, you go into prison, not that we thought you was gonna get raped, but it was like, yo, they do that in there. Now explain that to the people. Like, does does that go like the way they describe it in different comedy shows and all that kind of stuff? Like, yo, don't drop the soap and all that kind of stuff. As a person that's been locked up, how do you feel about those comments? And let us know how it really is in there when it comes to that kind of like rape
All right, so I'm gonna say this: the time that I went to prison that's not happening. There's nobody getting raped in prison. You know what I mean? Now, was they getting raped back in the 90s, 80s, 70s? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That was a thing back then. You know what I mean? Dudes was getting raped. But the time that I went, dudes wasn't getting raped. You know what I mean? If you see two dudes that got caught with each other, it's because they gay. Like, you know what I mean? They got caught. You know what I mean? That's what it was in there. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody getting raped and none of that in there. You know what I mean? It was just mainly a lot of fights, a lot of stabbings, and a lot of cuts. You know what I
So
mean?
is it offensive to dudes that's locked up why they describe prison like a big place where everybody's just having sex with each other?
It's what the media have put out there. It is defensive because that's one of the, like what I mean, a lot of my white friends who I tell I mean that I went to prison. That's like the first thing they ask, like, yo, anybody ever tried you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you mean? Like, no, you know what I mean? Nobody tried me like that, you know what I mean? But they don't know because they see on TV or they might read about it or people just talk about dudes getting raped in prison. That's not happening these days, you know what I mean? Like, you get caught with a dude in prisons because you gay. Like, I mean, that's just what you like. You know what I'm saying? But back in the day, dudes was getting raped in prison.
Now, how does or do they even care? How does straight men in prison feel about gay men in prison? Not you, but just in general. What's the culture like in
I
prison?
can't.
Is it like, yo, we leave them alone, they leave us alone thing? Or is it like homophobic in there?
When I was in there, it wasn't homophobic, but if you straight, you not. We used to call them mooks, you know what I mean, or lizards, you know what I mean. We never just call them like gay or homo, nothing like that. Like they had a name, you know what I mean, that we used to call them in prison, but not that we was homophobic, but just like they stayed over there, we stayed over there. Like those dudes know who to play with. You know what I mean? They know that. They know that they see how certain guys move in prison. They not coming over there being in that guy's face. If you see them up in dudes' faces like that, it's because one, that whoever they in their face with probably is into that dude and he knows that, or that person's just like naive to him being who he is and just don't care. But you can't be a straight guy in prison that's being always seen with a gay guy because then you're gonna get labeled like, yo, he's messing with that guy. Like that's a fact. You know what I mean?
Now you being in prison, right? And I learned this from you, you know, different charges in prison can make your prison stay difficult.
Mm-hmm.
What are the charges in prison that you can have that can make you not be able to be in population or can make your prison stay harder than what it should be?
Anything with little kids, you out of here. You know what I mean? Anything with little kids, you're done. Like there was a guy that was in actually in the same dorm that I was in Clinton when I was telling you about Mussolini being next to me. His cube, it was a white dude. His cube was in front of like pretty much in front of the bubble where the CO stayed. And he was in there for raping a black girl and hanging her. So at any given moment, dudes used to like wait for him to go into the slap seat and give him the business every single time. And all he did was just go right back to his bed, get underneath his covers and cry. So when the COs used to come in and check him and see he would be all lumped up and everything, they used to shut our dorm down and have all the COs come in, take all our stuff out of our lockers, throw it all in one pile, you know what I mean, and just cause confusion in the house. But that guy couldn't live nowhere else. Because even if in a box, they would have pretty much starved him. So he had to stay there, and he was taking his beating for what he did. So anything with rape, anything with little kids, you're done in there. You know what I mean? And if you got paperwork that you ratted on somebody, you done in there too. That's a fact.
So rats, rapists, and molesters,
Yeah,
they have the hardest times in prison.
very hard time in prison. Yep.
They have the hardest time in prison. All right. So now you like now, let's say you what now I know when you was in prison, one of the things you used to always say, even from your first year, almost to almost your last year was, um, I think you put my pill in. I'm waiting for my pill to come through or something like that. Like you was appealing stuff throughout your bid.
Yeah.
As I look back at it now, it almost for us outside that was hoping for you to come home. That was just giving us something to look forward to every year. You actually thought you was coming home though.
Yeah, I thought I was coming home because for one, during my trial, and you're gonna read this in the book, it was a time that during trial, my lawyer had asked for a separate trial because I was implicated at trial. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
my lawyer asked for a separate trial, and I was denied that. You know what I mean? And so because I was denied that, you know what I mean, it was means for an appeal to happen. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I was always putting in the pills and it was always getting knocked down. So through my whole entire bid, you know what I mean, I was always appealing something that was already knocked down, you know what I mean? And just appealing that. So yeah.
But that was giving you
It was
rather
giving
than
me hope. It
yeah.
definitely got me through my bid thinking that I was gonna get out earlier than than I did. I never did. You know what I mean? Actually, my last year in prison, they brought me back down to the county and resentenced me and gave me an extra 5 years post supervision because originally when they sentenced me to the 9 years, they just sentenced me to 9 years flat. They never gave me the 5 years post on the back of that, which is actually altogether 14 years. So my last year in 2008, they brought me all the way back down to the county in Poughkeepsie and resentenced me and gave me 5 years post added to that nine.
Yeah. All right. So now, like I was saying, those different appeals give you hope. But I'm a kind of like veer off on a subject real quick because those who know me know I wrote a book called A Mother's Love, A Son's Regret. It's a popular book. A lot of people, especially in prison, buy those books, buy A Mother's Love, A Son's Regret all the time.
Definitely congratulations on the sale. Definitely. You're doing very good on
Oh,
that too.
appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't realize that your story and my story, y'all relationship was like the root of that book. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When people write me, they think the story is about me of the way it was written, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of the book is totally my creativity. The first half of the book is absolutely inspired by you and mom's relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
it talks about it like a teenage kid who had a troubled relationship with his mother
Mm-hmm.
and then got locked up and they developed a bond in prison. Like I got that whole part of the story from you and mom's relationship.
Yeah.
So tell me, briefly about, okay, you was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
rebellious, doing you. Mom was the church lady, and those two things don't match.
At
So
all. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Me being the oldest, I didn't have older brothers. So I was very like I was out there. I was in the streets. At this time in Poughkeepsie, I was running around uh with dudes that was like really, really in the streets, you know what I mean? The name PR came from rest in peace, Ali. You know what I mean? Just guy, like he was killed. Actually, my first year in prison, he was killed. But he gave me the name PR for Pretty Ricky, you know what I mean? So I was around a lot of gangsters, I should say, or dudes who was, about that life. Me, I never grew up that way. You know what I mean? I grew up, you know what I mean? When we first moved to Poughkeepsie, you know what I mean? We lived in Tubman, different Tubman. We got the house on Church Street. You know what I mean? Ma always had us in church. So me, when I got introduced to females and I start being out there in the streets, is when I became a teenager, is when me and mom pretty much our relationship pretty much went astray from each other.
Yeah.
We didn't have a great relationship at all. And it's simply because we really not that far in age. You know what I mean? Mom got me by like what, 14 years or
Nah,
so.
man, come on, don't do that. Come on, man. It ain't that long. Nah, it's
It's
more like 16, 17 years.
yeah, 16. All right. Well, I was close. Sorry, Mom. You know what I mean? 16 years. All right. So we
Everybody
not
like, yo, hold up.
yeah.
What?
I'm bad. I'm super bad. You know what I mean? Where you just caught me off a bit off what's the name with Jeff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
but anyway, yeah, so we're not that far in age with each other. So like, when I was a teenager, mom was only in like her 30s, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
So she was still young herself. So me being her first, child and her first teenager, she didn't know how to handle me, you know what I mean? And I was a problem at that time. So I was very rebellious. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to listen to nobody at that time.
So, once you got locked up though, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Yeah, and I know from because I seen it with my own eyes that y'all developed a bond. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't know if the bond was created from fear, desperation, whatever like that. But I know that y'all put whatever problems y'all was having when you was a teenager before y'all got locked up, y'all put all of that aside, and it was more about I want to make sure you good, far as her, and you want to make sure she good out here. Like it
yeah,
was like, yo, forget everything else. It's just I want to make sure y'all was wanting to make sure each other was good. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And how was that? Like, do those 9 years that basically y'all spent, whether it was letters and visits and all of that, like what did that mean? What did that mean to you? Not just for her visiting you, but just for the relationship to go from being rocky when you was a teenager to
Hmm.
being like, when you was locked up, it was like she gonna ride, she gonna be there.
Yeah. So
Because let me say this before you say anything, because I thought it was something that and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was just something that like mothers would do, but apparently that's not the case because there's these people who's locked up whose family and moms don't check them at all.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, like what did that mean? What did that mean for you with that relationship? You know what I'm saying? Because I know my book was based off of that. So anybody who's watching this who's read A Mother's Love, A Son's Regret, this is this dude right here, Jeff P.R. Watkins. That's the dude that y'all reading about. Not that that's his life, but that was inspired by him and my mother's relationship. The first part of that book. It ain't
yeah,
about me. I ain't never been locked up. It was
yeah.
about him.
So in prison, me and mom definitely developed a relationship that blossomed into something that I always wanted for me to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I said, when I was home and I became a teenager, like I wasn't trying. Me and mom, we didn't get along at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But in prison, me growing up in prison and me being away from the family and her, experiencing her son that she used to always put us on punishment for, because she never want us to get in trouble and,
Yeah.
and have to go this route happened anyway. Her biggest fear happened anyway when it came to me. So it brought us together to a very beautiful relationship that we developed when I was in prison. I fell in love with my all
Yeah.
over again, and writing letters, talking to her over the phone. She'd come to see me on a visit and everything. And I realized that, you know, everything that we went through, when I was a teenager, it was just a trial that we was going through because we really didn't know each other. Like, I didn't know that. I always know mom loved me to death. And don't get it twisted. Like me and mom, we'll go through it. But if anybody was to ever touch mom, I would do a bit all over again with no
I
hesitation.
know, but listen, we trying to stay
No
positive.
hesitation.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's
Look at
put
you.
that out there. No hesitation off your head. Like, if you ever approach my mom's in any kind of way, that's a
I'm
fact.
editing this out. But go
Don't,
ahead.
don't. So in any case, it was like, yeah, so we developed a very beautiful relationship, man, that blossomed into something that was just beautiful with me and mom. Like, Like we was like best friends And like I said, I fell in love with that. You know what I mean? It was something that I always wanted, and it was definitely something that I needed, even, and I think we needed each other
Yeah,
at
you
that
did.
time. You know what I mean? Because
She need,
I didn't know the just of what she was going through out there. It's like me being in here, I'm doing my bit, and just me always, you know what I mean? Pardon me, calling to make sure you guys is all right. Like like if I can help that, if you wasn't, but it was just me being a protector. You know what I mean? So we needed each other at that time, and we did. You know what I mean? We definitely was there for each other. Mom was definitely there for me, hands down,
yeah.
on that bit. I mean,
Nah, yeah. I definitely needed each other because she needed to know that you was okay. And that kind of like got her through like 30 days. And then if she was so always on edge that if she didn't hear from you when she was supposed to, she got me on a computer searching stuff. It's like
yeah,
that is like she, as long as she knew you was okay, she can get through another 30 days. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
yeah,
that relationship, and for those, people who's watching this, you know what I'm saying? And I know it's a lot of people because from me writing that book and all these thousands of people, and they contact me and they say certain things. Y'all wasn't the only. Apparently, that's not an uncommon rocky relationship. A
yeah,
mother and a son is usually the oldest too.
yeah.
That's not uncommon.
Normal. It's very normal.
It's mad normal. It's a whole bunch of mothers that write me saying me and my son went through the same thing, and now we have a beautiful relationship from something happening. That unfortunate situations usually bring people together, whether it's prison, whether it's funerals or
Yeah,
whatever like that. It brings people together. So I witnessed that, and I seen how, like, you're right, y'all both needed each other in that situation. And it's funny how like situations like that, uh it could go either way. It could break it. Ma could have took the approach where we ain't had no good relationship when we was out here, so let him do him.
yeah,
He did the crime, do the time or whatever. Or you
yeah,
could have been like, I ain't trying to see her. I ain't cool with her. Like, it could have been like that, but it wasn't. It was more of about like, forget everything. We need
yeah.
each other to
We
get through
was
this.
going, yeah. It was, we was going through something. You know what I mean? Far as me, like getting locked up and getting as much time that they gave me, none of that, and none else at that time but family mattered. You know what I mean? On both ends. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like nothing else mattered. Like we here now. This is what I gotta face. You know what I mean? Mom definitely showed me from the gate that she was there. You know what I mean? From all the way till I came home and even to now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely that was a beautiful thing. I needed that. That helped me get through my bed. You know what I mean? And then knowing that you guys was okay, and letting you guys know that I was okay. I was talking to mom just the other day, and she was telling me how she didn't know that, she thought that I was gonna be I was just gonna be in there getting beat up and all that. Mom didn't know my lifestyle, you know what I mean, before I went to prison, because I said I always kept that away from y'all. But I
yeah.
told her, I said, Mom, you didn't know I was a gangster in there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't know. I mean, I had the store and
Ma,
everything. What you think you was sending those cigarettes for? Like, you know what I
Ma
mean?
said she ain't watching this interview.
Hustling. You know what I mean?
Ma said she not gonna watch this interview because she don't want to know nothing she don't know.
She definitely gonna watch it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, her son came home. You know what I mean? No scars on my face, thank God. You know what I mean? My dignity, my respect. I go hold my head up high in my town. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Like
being
that's,
that we talking about moms, what does this woman mean to you?
oh man, grandma, man. Like it's you know,
Describe this before you even say what she mean to you.
yeah,
Describe this picture. This picture is actually from you in your photo album from
yeah,
that you when you was locked up.
yeah.
What is this picture that everybody's looking at?
So this picture right here was the last picture that my grandmother came to visit me on my bed. This is she was diagnosed with cancer, and this was our very very last picture that we took. You know what I mean? When I was in, I believe I was in Franklin at that time. Yeah, that looked like Franklin background. I was in Franklin correctional facility, and grandma came up to see me. I guess you guys already knew that she had cancer, but y'all didn't want to tell me. And I think mom waited maybe like a week or two after her coming to see me, to let me know that grandma was diagnosed with cancer. But grandma was my heart, man. Like it's no, ifs, ands, buts about that. You know what I mean? I was the dude that was doing all the dirt in the world, but still making sure that my grandmother got to all her doctor's appointments. You know what I mean? I was that
Right.
guy. You know what I mean? You already know it was me and you. Well,
Yeah.
so it's like grandma was my heart, man. That was everything. You know what I mean? She was everything to me. You know what I mean? That was
I think Grim actually played cards with us that day too. I want to mistaken. It could have been Uno.
I don't oh yeah, I don't remember, man. It was
I
so
think it was.
much. But you know what I mean? It was like, grandma was a very, very, you know what I mean, special woman in my life. You know what I mean? Not taking nothing away from nobody else. Definitely not mine.
Nah, you don't even got to say that. You
You know
know,
what
we
I mean?
know
Grandma,
everybody's.
grandma was definitely like a very, very major part of my life. You know what I mean? And to lose her the way that I did, you know what I mean? And to also, you know what I mean, like even her asking me, you know what I mean, like, yo, did you do this crime? Like I couldn't even tell grandma that I had anything to do with it. That's just how much respect I have for her, that I didn't want to hurt her feelings, you know what I mean? And I gotta live with that for the rest of my life. And I've since, asked her for my forgiveness and pray, you know what I mean, and everything. But grandma was she was my heart. You know what I mean? I'd have died for grandma, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then,
Just like I would die for any one of y'all, but like grandma was my heart, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Definitely.
grandma. You know what I'm saying? We have a big family. You know what I'm saying? But grandma, and it's not taking anything away from our cousins and all that. I'm sure they all have their personal relationships with grandma too. But grandma lived with us. So,
Yeah,
me and you, we spent summer and grandma at Rockaway Beach throwing food
yeah.
with the pigeons. She's in there, y'all better stop throwing my food. Or
Throwing the fools to the pigeon on Rockaway
yeah,
Beach, you know
or
what I mean?
she taking us for crazy long. I don't even remember where she was walking at, but I know one day she had us walking for wow long one day. Then
Yeah,
she'll bring us home and cook us chicken pot pies and
facts.
putting her towels around our neck and flying through her house like Batman and Superman and
Superman, yeah.
all that. Like we got so many memories of her. So when we lost grandma, it was like I don't even think to this day that I recovered from that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
never did. You know what I mean? To this day, I still go to her burial out there in Poughkeepsie. You know what I mean? I never recovered from that. And simply for me is that I so many years I've been out of grandma's life before she died. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like you was actually there with her when she passed away. You know what I mean? For me, it was like I was doing my bed and then they gave me, you know what I mean, the when it was around time for her to pass, they gave me the option of going to the funeral or going to a deathbed visit. And of course I picked the deathbed, you know what I mean, to go see her before she passed. You
yeah.
know what I mean? That was a very, very, very tough time, you know what I mean, for me, you know what I mean, on my bed. Like that was just like my biggest fear was happening, that I was losing a family member while I was away.
But
And then
describe that. You went to the hospital, right?
so yeah, so I get there, I get to the hospital. They had me in a wheelchair. They threw a towel over me because I was shackled and handcuffed. You know what I mean? And they wheeled me into her room. And the family and everybody was there. You know what I mean? And I remember mom telling me like, yo, she haven't been talking. You know what I mean? She haven't been responsive. You know what I mean? She's, just laying there or whatever. And I remember as soon as I seen grandma, I just start bawling, crying. You know what I mean? Like as soon as I seen her in that state, man, it just broke everything in me. Like, I was trying to be tough, you know what I mean, when I got there, you know what I mean? But when I seen her in that state, it everything in me melted. You know what I mean? I broke down. So I start crying and everything. And I remember I went over to her and I leaned over and I kissed her. And grandma opened up her eyes. You know what I mean? I remember seeing how dark yellow her eyes was. You know what I mean? That's anybody that know anything about cancer and chemo, like that's what happens.
Yeah, the
Um,
jaundice is the
the jaundice
jaundice
and
from
everything. Yeah,
the liver
it
failure.
was
Yeah,
like extremely dark yellow, you know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there and I'm crying. And the first thing she did was look at my wrists, look at my hands, you know what I mean? Because like the first thing grandma did was look at my wrist, and she seen that I had the handcuffs on me. And she looked at the handcuffs and she looked at the COs and told them to take it off. She said, take it off. And they took it off. You know what I mean?
which is crazy because they wasn't supposed to.
Wasn't supposed to take that off, man. But out of respect, to the two CEOs that brought me there. You know what I mean? They took the handcuffs off of me. They kept the shackles on me, but they took the handcuffs off, and I was able to hug grandma. You know what I mean? And kiss her. And I just kept saying I was sorry, and grandma started crying. You know what I mean? Then she was like that. She said, "You're gonna be okay." You know what I mean? She said, "You're gonna be okay." And she told me that she loved me, and then she just closed her eyes. You know what I mean? And I was just holding her hand the whole time while we was in there, man. It was just it was hard, man. It was rough. It
Yeah.
was very, very, very rough.
People don't realize, like we know how big of a how big of an influence, grandma had on our life, because even people for myself, people know I do music, I got rap music, but they never hear me cuss or even say the nigga word in a derogatory way. If I use the word, it's in context, right? Because one time I was sitting in the car, and grandma was a fan of my music too. But grandma sitting in the car one time, and she said, "I don't want to criticize you or nothing like that, but that nigga word, lose that." Yo, let me tell you something. I ain't say that joint in another like 7, 8 albums.
Yeah,
Like that's how powerful she was. Even to the point where I used to wear, I liked superhero shirts,
yeah.
like Superman, Batman. Grandma came up to me one time and said, "Ain't no married man supposed to be wearing those superhero shirts." Yo, listen. I didn't put that joint back on until after she died, man.
If I see you with that shirt on, son, if I see
Yo,
you with that
son.
shirt on, you already know.
Yo, I love Superman. Yo, I couldn't even wear that joint until after she died. It's
Yeah.
crazy. After she died, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, I like Superman, grandma. Like, I ain't trying to hurt nobody or nothing like that.
Now, grandma was definitely a special vessel on earth, man. Like she was different. She was the only woman at that time that I bowed down to because, like I said, me and mom, we wasn't getting along when I was a teenager, but grandma was the only one that could bring me down. Like, yo, listen, no
Yeah,
matter what it is, you know what I mean? Like, that's still your mother. Like, don't ever disrespect your mom. She used
word.
to always say that. Like, I don't care how ugly it get between you and your mother, that's still your mother. Don't ever disrespect her. You know what I mean? So grandma was the only one that can like pretty much I bow down to and listen, like, all right, grandma, like, all right, you got it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely, you know what I mean, even to this day, like I think about her often, you know what I mean? And I just wish that, you know what I mean, she could have been here to see, you know what I mean, see me, on a come home, you know what I mean? And to see where I'm at right now in life, although I'm not where I potentially want to be, and I'm gonna get there, but I'm way further than I, ever been. You know what I mean?
If it's funny you said that, because she knew like when you first got sentenced and they gave you the 9 years. That's one of the things she said. She said, "I ain't gonna be here when he come out." I don't even know how she knew. Grandma
Yeah.
knew
Hey,
stuff, though.
grandma
We
was a
know.
prophet, so she
Yeah,
knew.
she knew, but she said, "I ain't gonna be when he come home." And you came home 2008 December, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Grandma passed away 2007 July. So
Yeah,
it's like she got almost right there, and
yeah.
she passed away. So let's get to that though. So now it's your last year. Like you don't went through prison, you don't have fights and all. But before we even get there, you met some people in prison. Like you
Yeah.
met you
Pop.
mentioned you met your dude named Pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Now everybody you met in prison, is Pop the most? Is he the most like special one to you? I know
Pop.
you met mad people in prison.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to my bro Clay. Shout out to my bro Spud. You know what I mean? Shout out to, you know what I mean? I got it, yo, my man Dre. I got so many friends, bro, that I'm still in contact with even to this day. We all home now, you know what I mean? My
Yeah.
my boy Jeter. Shout out to Harlem. All my boys out in Harlem, my boy Jeter. You know what I mean? Pop is by far that's so when I was explaining to you earlier, like you already know, I don't have an older brother. You know what I mean? I'm the oldest of all you guys. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I kind of like try to guide you guys. You know what I mean? Pop right here, like in this picture, like that's Pop was like my mentor in prison. You know what I mean? When I met him in Franklin. He a Virgo too. And it's crazy because what it was is like any spot that I went to, I didn't talk to nobody for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? That's how I used to move. Like if I'm in a new spot, I ain't talk to nobody for 2 weeks. Because in that time of of me not talking, I'm up absorb. I'm watching my surroundings. I know who's who. I'm like, yeah, this dude, he over here, he mad loud. He's probably a clown. Like I know who's who in the house. In 2 weeks, Pop used to move the same way. So we came to Franklin at the same time. I think I came there from Clinton and Pop came there, if I'm not mistaken, maybe from Comstock. I'm not sure what Max he came from, but we instantly clicked. You know what I mean, when we finally, you know what I mean, was able to sit down and have a conversation with each other. And I remember Pop used to just feed me mad like like books that I'm supposed to be reading, like the Art of War and stuff like that. Because at that time I'm reading Mad Donald Goins books and stuff that what I mean, it really didn't have
48 laws of power and all that.
huh?
You read the 48 laws of power?
All of that through Pop, you know what I mean? So Pop used to have me reading a lot of different books that elevate your mind and way of thinking. And we became that's my older brother right there. You know what I mean? That's my bro right there. That's a guy that I can call 3 o'clock in the morning and like, yo, bro, I need to talk to you. And he's jumping out the bed, like, yo, he called me Pito. He like, yo, Pito, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? So we always had that relationship, you know what I mean? That's my brother, you know what I mean? Like hands down, you know what I mean? A very, very good dude, man. I go out to Vegas to see him on a regular, you know what I mean? And it's just it's something that I needed, you know what I mean? It was something that was missing in my life because like I said, I never had an older brother. So when you got somebody that's older and that can like tell you like, you know what I mean, when you wrong, like, nah, bro, like, or have you looking at things differently than I would normally look at it. Cause I kind of lean over on the negative side more than the positive when I think, because of just the different things that I've been through in life. My trust issues is pretty much shot, you know what I mean, when it comes to a lot of people, you know what I mean? And that's what I was telling you, you know what I mean? Like, so what Pop has always been the same, like with him, straight and narrow, straight to the point, nothing hidden. You know what I mean? You know how you can order something, they got hidden fees and all of that wild crazy stuff. It's not hidden with my son. You know what I mean?
I always think it's dope though. I always think it's dope that like I always mention the movie Shawshank Redemption, because that's my favorite movie. When two dudes that's locked up together link up when they free.
Yeah.
Like when Morgan Freeman was on the beach walking to Andy Dufresne, and he was on a boat. I always thought that was the dopest part of the movie because they've been through so much together, and now they was free on the beach together. And like when you mentioned Pop, and I think I've spoken to Pop on the phone briefly, but not, I don't really know him like that. But when I think about you two, I think about two dudes that was in a bad place together.
Yeah.
But now you out here in New York doing your thing, he in Vegas doing his thing, and y'all free.
And
y'all
we
free.
free.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so let me tell you real quick, right? You know what I mean? I know we pushing for time, so I'm gonna tell you real quick. So just recently, just last summer, I went to Vegas. You know what I mean, to go visit Pop. I went to Vegas.
That's when you got these on, right?
Yeah. A little fly.
With the wallabies on, you know what I'm saying?
And I smelled like Azalea Vasi that day too.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna talk about what that is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So that's the day I went to Pop's baby shower, right? So before the day that the day before we flew out there, I told Pop, it's no hidden, like, every now and then I like to blow it down, you know what I mean, whatever. So Pop brought
what
me
you talking about? What we talking about?
Marijuana, so weed.
Right.
So Pop, so listen. No, Pop brought me to this dispensary out there, this big dispensary that they had out there, right? Yeah. And I got what I got. Then we went back to, he has a lot of warehouses because my son, like, he deals with a lot of different like the MGMs and stuff like that. He provided them with a lot of different stuff that they need, and he just got his own thing going in with his warehouse. He's doing very well for himself out there. And I remember we in the back of his warehouse, it's late at night, you know what I mean, and it was like an airplane flying mad low over his warehouse, you know what I mean, and I'm blowing it down. I'm just like, yo, bro, like, yo, look where we at right now. You know what I mean? Look where we at, my nigga. Like, yo, we behind. That's just one of his warehouses we was behind. My son, I think, got like 2 or 3 of them. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we behind one of his warehouses that's packed to the ceiling with mad stuff in there. I'm like, yo, bro, look where we at, son. Like, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was just that moment of me saying that was just like, yo, nigga, we free. Like, we doing us right now. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You got your own thing going on. I got my own thing going on. And we, son, like the vibe that we had that night, son, of just knowing that we was free. You know what I mean? That, you know, we got a lot of good things that's going on for ourselves. My man just got it, was blessed with a beautiful daughter and a beautiful wife, man. My son is very blessed, and I'm just happy for him. It was just like a dope like vibe that night, son. Like, you know what I mean? I can't even explain it. It was just to be free and just to be like, you know, like, you know, son, we came a long way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we definitely came a long way. My son been through a lot too, and this is something that, you know, again, you know what I mean, people's gonna read in my book that I'm gonna explain the story about Pop. You know what I mean, and the different others stories that, you know, we passed for this, but definitely, uh, like, that's my bro right there, hands down. Amen.
Then let's get to it now, because now it's the day you coming home, right? I'm gonna
Mhm.
go from my end, and then I'm gonna let you explain how your day went. Now, my end, I knew that you coming home, I had to come get you. Me and
Yeah,
my man Gerald, you know what I'm saying? Which is what I also call him Pop too. We childhood friends or whatever.
yeah, Gerald. And then when you watching this, yo, release that video too, bro.
I
Like,
don't even know if he got it, but there's a
let's get that
video of us
video,
picking
man.
you up from jail, and it would have been crazy to be able to add it to this interview. But we driving. I think we had to pick you up from
From
Sullivan County.
Sullivan, yeah.
Sullivan County. And I remember us driving up there. It's
Mhm.
in December. A snowstorm or something, some ice, something happened.
Yeah,
I think the day before, where it knocked a whole bunch of trees down on
yeah,
the road that we had to take to get you. And
yeah,
this was like 2008. So I think it was navigation, but it wasn't like advanced as it is now, where you could just put it on your phone.
yeah,
And I remember telling Gerald, like, yo, I don't even care if this road, it had a sign up on the road that said, do not enter. I'm
yeah.
like, yo, this is the only way we got to go. We went around the sign. We got video of us going through broken trees and all of that. So I go there. I go in there and I go to the front desk and I'm like, yo, I'm here to pick up my brother, which I thought I'll probably never be able to say before, because you
Yeah,
talking like 8 years later, right?
yeah.
And I remember you coming through with a bag. You had a big bag, like a garbage bag, I think.
Mhm,
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like a garbage bag, kind of like a hat you got on right now.
mhm.
Like, you got to start wearing those hats, because now that I think about it,
I
I think
look
that was
good in this hat, man. You
I'm just
talk,
saying, but that looked like the same hat you had on.
but
You
it's
had
not.
that. You
This
had
hat is free.
you had a hat on, and I remember us like quickly like embracing each other, like, yo, son, you free. But I wanted to get you in the car, because it's like, my thing is like, yo, we got to get out of here, right?
Yeah,
So I remember you hopping in the car in the back seat, you know what I'm saying? And I think we handed you a cell phone, and I think you called a couple of people like, yo, I'm home, or I'm leaving right now.
yeah.
And I remember driving you all the way from Sullivan County to Ma's house,
Mhm.
and that embrace that Ma had when she came running outside and
Yeah,
you getting out the car.
very dramatic.
It
Very,
was no, no, listen.
no,
Probably,
not dramatic in a not dramatic in a bad way.
yeah,
Meaning, it was something that you would see in a movie
it is definitely something you
that
see in the
that a
movie. It's
person would
like,
definitely shed a tear. It was dramatic, like,
it
you
was
know what I mean?
crazy. It was like they just hugged, and
Yeah,
mom crying and all that. And I remember, family was there, you know what I'm saying, at this time. We all there. Everybody was there. When I mean family, more like our immediate family
yeah,
was there when you came home. And that was like one of those out of my top 5 greatest days of my life.
yeah.
That's one of those days, because it was like, yo, it's over. Like, it's over.
Mhm.
So tell us how that day went for you on your last day in prison.
So the night before, I didn't get no sleep. You know what I mean? The night before, I didn't get any sleep. Um, I was up all night. I was talking to, you know what I mean? At that time, a friend of mine, ones, and I was just, I didn't know what I was gonna do when I got out, but you know, I was, it was almost like it wasn't gonna happen. You know what I mean? And I remember that morning they called me up to the main Sullivan, Maine, because that's where they released you from. That's where you picked me up at. Because I was
Yeah.
in the annex. I was in the camp. Then they called me up to the main. And that's when I was like, wow, this is really happening. You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to get out of here finally. Like, you know what I mean? So I just, whatever clothes it was that you guys got me, I'm back there trying to put everything going fast because I didn't want these dudes to be like, yo, nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you do that much time, you know what I mean? And been through, you know what I mean? What I've been through out of all those years, like, you know, stuff like that, like to have something that great or that good, you know what I mean, of a feeling, it's just like, yo, let's hurry this up so I can get up out of it. You know what I mean?
Wait,
So,
hold on. Before you say it, now is it like is it like the movies where you walking down and dudes is in the cell like yo P yo don't come back yo do you? Is it like that or is it more like how
so
that work?
so I was in a camp at this time. I was in Sullivan Annex,
Yeah,
and everybody knew I was going home the next day. So dudes definitely came over to my house and gave me respect. Like, yo, bro, like, yo, like, good luck out there. You know what I mean? The second and third, because everybody know, you know what I mean? I just did 8, you know what I mean? I just
yeah,
did 8 off of that. So they were showing me mad love, you know what I mean? Mad love. A lot of, you know, a lot of dudes was just happy for me. At least they seen, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure they was, because we all was leaving from that spot at that time. Meaning, if you in that spot, you leaving, you going home. It
yeah.
was just my turn. So nah, they show me love, you know what I mean? And it was just a great feeling, man. Like, I couldn't even when I got home, like, I couldn't even sleep. Like, it was like the
Yeah.
anxiety that I had was like my body was filled with so much excitement, and just the fact that I was free. Like, I couldn't even, like, son, like, it was like a surreal feeling. Like, it's like I couldn't, it was too much for me to take in, you know what I mean, at that time. You
And
know what I
this is
mean?
the day. This is the day. This picture right here is the day. Your first day home.
My first day home, yeah, yeah. I was, and that shirt was a 3X. I remember that joint too.
Nah,
Like,
but you was stocky up underneath it though,
nah,
because
I know.
I
I'm just
remember
saying.
like people don't realize that like yo, I'm your
Yo, hold
brother.
on, hold
So
on, hold on.
right,
Go
but
back
what?
to the hats.
I told you it was the same hat. That was the same hat. That might be the same hat. You know what I mean? Period.
Nah, it's not. This is
I told
definitely
you,
not the
listen.
same hat, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember. That's the same kind of hat. You know what I'm saying? But I remember like
yeah,
people don't understand, like we brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
when you mention when you got locked up and you was taking showers, you know, but they don't realize me and you, we took showers as kids together. You know what I mean?
All right.
What? What?
Yeah, I mean,
Yo,
yeah,
come on,
okay.
don't front. Like, man, we played G.I. Joes and all that. I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
think, you know what I mean? We don't front. You know what I'm saying that
yeah. Nah, Ron definitely had us, and yeah, we
we
was
brothers.
babies.
So
Yeah,
when you said that, I knew that was kind of cat because me and you took showers before you even went in there. So I don't even know what you was talking about. But I know I was gonna bring that up at the end. I was gonna bring it up at the end because I know
it's not.
I didn't want to cut you off right
It's
then
not.
and when you were saying it.
Yo, it's not the same, son. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, it ain't the same, but I'm just saying, like, I remember those days. But anyway, when I said that, I remember, like, yo, our whole life, people who know us from kids is always Corey and Sean. That's all always was. Sean and Corey. You was always first. Sean and Corey. And I remember we was wild skinny. So I remember when you came home, like, you looked like an X-Man almost. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Muscles crazy. I remember calling mom, yo, mom, come look. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what prison do to a person's body that actually in there exercising. Because I've
yeah,
seen a lot of dudes go in skinny and
yeah,
come home skinnier. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So like you came home like on with your weight up crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it goes all the way back to what we said in the beginning of old Diggs telling me, like, yo, you gotta get your weight up in here. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be strong in here because the weak doesn't survive in this environment, and you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I took what he said and just ran with it. You know what I mean? And then, after I started seeing the results in myself, you know what I mean, I just kept it up. You know what I mean? Then I just became I just was extremely strong. You know what I mean? I'm in there lifting 315 pounds by myself, weight for chest. You know what I mean? Like, I became extremely strong, and then even strong minded. But, at that time, I was still institutionalized when I came home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a processing in that a lot of people don't talk about. You know what I mean? You just don't come home free. You know what I mean? Your body might be free, but your mentality and your mind is still locked up because you've been living a certain way for 8, 9 years. You know what I mean? You just don't come home and like, all right, yeah, I'm good now. Like, no, your mentality is still that of a person that's still mind is locked up. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about that for a brief second. Like you came home 2008. how long do you think it took you? Because I've seen a lot of dudes, and this is no shade to nobody that's been locked up. Some people just don't get it right. You know what I'm saying? But you're not one of those dudes. You're one of those dudes who came home and actually did you. You came home, you know what I'm saying? I know it wasn't immediate because I don't want to paint a false picture for dudes that's coming home from prison. It is a process. It is things that stacked up against y'all, whether it's jobs, opportunities, and all of that. Once you got that felony on you, they see that felony, they don't even give you a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you what was the process for you? You know what I'm saying? You came home, it was rocky. You know what I'm saying? You realize like I'm home now. I got a felony. Uh I gotta do something for myself. I can't fall into a situation where I'm gonna do something in the streets where I'm gonna end up going back to where I just did 8-9 years from.
Yeah.
What was your process when you first came home?
So when I first came home, I didn't know what I was gonna do. You know what I mean, honestly, I was lost. Like I was they give you all that time and they throw you out there and have you figure it out. But I was fortunate enough to get into the union after a couple of years of being home. My parole officer, who I respect to this day, shout out to Disla, you know what I mean? Because Disla at the time was my parole officer that allowed me to travel from Poughkeepsie all the way up into Albany, New York, to go to school to become a bridge painter. You know what I mean? And I became a bridge painter. I did a 3-year, I think they made me do 4, but I did a 3-year apprentice program to become a bridge painter.
Yeah.
And I got in, you know what I mean, got into the union, and I didn't look back since, you know what I mean? And that changed my life. You know what I mean? The fact that he allowed me to travel and be able to go to school during the winter time is what changed my life. And I remember sitting down with him and I'm telling him like, yo, this look, I got this opportunity that could change me and my family's life. Because around that time, I think I was just about to have Azalea, you know what I mean? And I told him, I was like, I got this opportunity that could change me and my family's life, but I have to travel to Albany to go to school. And he gave me the green light for that. You know what I mean? So I definitely got into the union, and
explain what the union is though, for those who don't know what that means.
So I'm in a painters union, which I was a bridge painter. I'm still a bridge painter. I'm still considered a bridge painter. I just haven't been on a bridge in many years because other reasons. I just other subcontractors I was paying me way more money. But in any case, a bridge painter, the union is pretty much like they don't care if you have a felony or anything like that, and they pay you very well. Like you have a 401k, you have health insurance. I think my first year as an apprentice, they was paying me like $19.60 an hour. You know what I mean? By the time I became my second year apprentice, I was making more money than my parole officers and all the parole officers that was in that building.
Crazy.
And then that's
on them. Yeah,
that's
stunt. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to stunt. Definitely got to stunt on this because that's where the respect came in from the parole officers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they can be very harsh on guys, especially violent felony offenders like myself, which they call me. But they could be very hard on us. So when I got into the union and I started doing my thing in the union, by my second year of being an apprentice, I was making more money than the parole officers. And anytime I used to have at this time, I was only coming to see my parole officer like once a month. So anytime I came there, I remember all the parole officers used to come in the room like, yo, how did you get in that? How did you get that job? And this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? And it was like I had to be careful because at the same time I was a target. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to have Disla, who really didn't care that I was making more money than him, but he respected me. He respected me because I came to him and I told him like, "Yo, this can change my life." And he actually seen me go to school and do it. So he wasn't hating on me after my second year and I'm making more money than him. Like, you know what I mean, after my third year, forget about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm in there. You know what I mean?
So it's funny you said that because now eventually you get the keys to the new World Trade Center. That's where you work at.
Yeah. So now at this time I'm working for a whole different other company, you know what I mean? That that pretty much get a lot of their employees through the union, you know what I mean? So I'm working down in New York City, you know what I mean? We pretty much rapping for Con Edison, we rapping, as you can see in the pictures, we wrapping the pipes, the electrical pipes with carbon fiber, you know what I mean? And the money that they was giving me is what put me in the mid over 100 some thousand a year, you know what I
Wait,
mean?
hold on. Wait. No, wait. Let's stop right there, though. You know what I'm saying? You went from doing 9 years in prison,
Yeah.
right, to coming home making six figures.
Yep.
Legit.
Huh?
Legit.
Legit. You know what I mean? I think the most I seen in 1 year was like maybe 167,000. You know what I
Crazy.
mean?
Crazy.
In 1 year, I seen. Now this is that picture with my beautiful baby Azalea. That's at the World Trade Center. So now back to that. You know what I mean? I was running this job here at the World Trade Center for the same company, but we doing a different job, and it was crack ejection. So crack ejections is pretty much in the World Trade Center. There's a lot of leaks because it was pretty much just threw up, like it was just built poorly after, you know what I mean, the World Trade, the 9/11 happened and everything. So when they built the Oculus, it was built poorly, so it was a lot of leaks and stuff in there. So this company that I worked for, we're going there and we'll find the leaks, and we'll shoot the wall with the silicone that they had. And what it does is anytime it touches water, it turns into foam. So all it did was just push water somewhere else, and then we will have to. So it was pretty much job security forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they gave me when you say gave me the keys, like I had access to all of behind of the World Trade Center. You know what I mean? Like I'm behind, like I'm in the World Trade Center, but I'm behind like where the security has all of the cameras in the world, just looking at all of New York. I'm there.
And
You
that
know what I mean?
and
I'm there.
that's the new World Trade Center. That's the
That's,
Freedom Tower they
yeah,
call it.
it's called the where we was working at is called the Oculus. You
The
know what I mean? The
Oculus.
World Trade Center Oculus. Yeah. So
It,
those are the keys. That's my badge. That gets me in and out. You know what I mean? Of the World Trade Center. So yeah, at that time, it was definitely money that was being made. I mean, definitely.
which is so crazy though, because me being an author and everything, I could see I tied things together. You got locked up in 2001 in March.
Yeah.
You was in jail when the Twin Towers
It
was
was hit.
attacked, was
Yeah.
hit.
Facts.
And then you come home
And
and
got the
get the
keys.
keys to the World Trade Center.
Yeah. It
That's
was it was
crazy.
it's nothing but God. You know what I mean? Nothing
Yeah.
nothing but God is what got me to where I'm at right now in life. And although I'm not where, I potentially is gonna stay, you know what I mean? Because I'm still elevating, you know what I mean? I'm still pushing for to be greater, you know what I mean, than where I'm
I'm
at right now.
I'm glad you said that, because this brings us to this right here, right?
Yeah,
You came home and you got in a union, but even making the money you was making in the union,
yeah,
you still felt like there was more for you to do, right?
yeah,
So you
absolutely.
start a fragrance line,
Yeah.
Azalea Vasi.
Azalea Vasi is a fragrance line that I started about a year ago. I actually, a lot of people don't know this, but behind the story is I flew out I found this chemist who deals with nothing but fragrances, you know what I mean? And he's stationed out in Texas. And set up an email with him. We was talking back and forth. I told him that I was interested in creating my own fragrance line, that I wanted to sit down with him. So he set up a meeting, you know what I mean? I flew out to Texas and I sat with him, and I mean, we sat down and I told him this is what I wanted to smell like, you know what I mean? This is what I wanted to look like, you know what I mean? And we came up with Azalea Vasi, you know what I mean? Azalea Vasi is named after Azalea, my daughter. um my third kid, you know what I mean, when I came home. And we came out with the notes and everything, and I mean, we bottled it, you know what I mean, we got it packaged and everything, and yeah, man. So that's where I'm at with that right now, man. And it smells
So
amazing for
it
those
does.
who haven't. Yeah, for those who haven't smelt it yet. You know what I mean? Like, listen, this is not something that I'm in my house just putting things together
No,
and
no,
bottling
no.
it up.
They
This
see
is
the package.
huh? Yeah, this is
They
something
see
that
the
was
look.
definitely, yeah, it's something that was definitely set down, mastermind, you know what I mean, and put together legitimate wise, you know what I mean, and then bottled, you know what I mean. This is something that was created from me, and my distributor out in Texas is what helped me get this on a go. So yes, I definitely have my own fragrance. It smells amazing. For those who don't have it or want to smell it, you can go to my website at azaliavasi.com. You
Yep.
know what I mean? It's for a
And
great.
we'll put the link in the description of this video on YouTube when you're watching it. Go in the description. The link for azaliavasi.com is going to be in there. Make sure y'all go there. Trust me, I you won't be disappointed. It does smell amazing and it's unisex for both men and women. Yo, make
Yeah.
sure y'all go get y'all that bottle.
And then
But
and,
that
and it lasts, and then smell lasts as long. You know, I mean, I know I'm trying to sell it right now, but you're gonna see for yourself. You know, what I mean, when you purchase it, I got a lot of great feedback from it. And this is just the first of many things that I'm trying to do, man. Like I said, we have the Zaya Vasi fragrance out there right now. The book is in the making. You know what I mean? The book is being written. You know what I mean? Right now as well. The book is gonna explain my journey from, you know what I mean, my upbringing from, you know what I mean, moving when we first moved to Poughkeepsie all the way up until where I'm at right now with life. You know what I mean? So it's gonna explain everything that, you know what I mean, I've been through in life. And trust me, you're gonna definitely want to, you know what I mean, read this because
absolutely.
it's my everybody has a story. You know what I mean, everybody has a story, but I feel like my story, of course, it's a lot. I've been through a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've
and
been
it's a
through.
lot we didn't purposely touch on
Yeah, it's a lot
just
we
for that.
purposely didn't say
We didn't
just
say.
for that reason for the book to be
Yeah,
purchased. So definitely look out for that. But yeah, definitely Azalea Vasi, you know what I mean? Fragrance. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Women, you know, it's Valentine's. I don't know when you're gonna air this, but you know what I mean? It's
yeah, they probably ain't gonna be able to get it for Valentine's Day. You said
yeah,
they got to get it for Easter.
Easter, you know what I mean? You just get it, period. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Easter Sunday. Roll
I
up in
mean,
church on Easter Sunday with it.
yeah, on Easter Sunday, you know what I mean?
But this video most likely is probably gonna be aired sometime later on today though. But the floor is yours right now though, because now like you showed we went through prison. We went through you like you didn't go straight from prison to Azealia Vasi, right? You
No.
went from prison, you got you a legitimate job. You
Mhm.
worked that job, invested in yourself, and created Azealia Vasi. And I think that's important for
Yeah,
people who's locked up to know. Like you can't go from 0 to 100. Some people
no.
want to come home and they want to hit the ground running. And then when that money don't look like the money it used to when they was locked, before they got locked up, the fast money on the streets, they want to go back to the fast money. And
Yeah,
what you did was you did a slow grind to get to where you at right now. And I need you to be able to tell whether it's dudes that just came home or dudes that might eventually end up going to prison, give them some kind of like words of encouragement
yeah.
on you know what I'm saying, on what they should do.
So, I mean, I can't tell you what you should do. I could just pretty much suggest, you know what I mean, things. But I'm gonna say this to you, to anybody, you know what I mean, especially you coming home, you have an idea, whatever the case may be. Listen, nothing happens overnight. You know what I mean? Nothing happens overnight. Like even I've been home now since 2008, it's 2024, and I'm still pushing. You know what I mean? I'm still like even when this takes off to where I know it's gonna be, I'm still gonna push for something else even after that. You might fail a couple of times, you know what I mean? You might fall a couple of times, but you got to get up every single time. You understand what I'm saying? Like every single time you fall, you got to get up, you know what I mean, brush yourself off and keep pushing, because nothing that's worth having is going to happen overnight. You know what I mean? And you appreciate it more when you feel like you didn't give up. There's many times I felt like giving up. You know what I mean? Like I feel like every time I try to accomplish something, everything around me and my world that's around me feel like it's crumbling. You know what I mean? But I keep pushing straight forward to things. So I'm gonna say this for the guys that's coming home. You know what I mean? If if you're really serious about changing your life, you know what I mean, and for you and your family, you know what I mean, like dudes can definitely reach out to me. You know what I mean? Corey, you can put up my Instagram page for dudes to hit me up, you know what I mean, or they can hit you up. But I have to connect for the painters union. I have to connect for laborers union, you know what I mean? So, you know, this is just something, if it's something that you feel like you want to do to change your life or whatever, this is something that you can actually do. I got into the union not to what I should say, retire from it. I got into the union to get enough money to pretty much like what I've been doing. That you're gonna see in my book that I purchased a restaurant. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be talked about in my book. But it was to pretty much push the envelope for me to elevate myself so that way I'm not working for nobody else. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, you're not your own boss until you work for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if that's who you want to be, if that's who you are in life, getting into the union and pretty much saving your money up to invest it into something great is the best thing that you can do. You know what I mean? So for those of you who's out there that's entrepreneurs that, you know, fell many times, just keep pushing, man, because at the end of the day, it's going to hit. And when it hit, you're going to appreciate that. You know what I mean? So definitely for the guys that's on parole, you know what I mean? I hope that my story, you know what I mean, gave you guys some type of light, you know what I mean, to understand that just because you got a felony don't mean that, you know, and not taking anything from anybody that's working at fast food places or pushing a mop or being a janitor or whatever. All those need to be done. All those is jobs that have to happen. But if you somebody that sees better for yourself or want to do better for yourself, you know what I mean, just do it, you know what I mean, and don't give up. You know what I mean? It's like I said, I never gave up. To this day, I'm still pushing as if I just got out yesterday. You know, see what I'm saying? So just keep pushing, man. You know what I mean? And just know that there's you can reach. You know what I mean? Like let me say this real quick, and then we done. When I was in prison, right? I think when I was working in a mess hall, which was the highest paid job that you can get in prison, I think they was giving me 14 or 13 cents an hour. You know what I'm saying? Yo, just last year, you know what I mean? Before we finished up that job, the job, and I'm only saying this to inspire people, not to ever brag, because trust me, like I was still working for somebody, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be my own boss. So I said that to say, like, from working for 14 cents an hour to $108 an hour. You know what I'm saying? It can happen. You know what I mean? You just got to be dedicated. You got to keep pushing. You know what I mean? You got to know how to talk when you're around people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another major part of everything, like your appearance, how you speak, you know what I mean? Your mannerisms, stuff like that can get you there. You know what I mean? And I'm living proof of that. You know what I mean? I'm living proof that you can go from being a number in prison to actually having like making over 100 grand a year. You know what I mean? I've been doing that for many, many years. You know what I mean? Being in a union. So hold your head, you know what I mean? And just keep pushing to be greater. Be the best you know what I mean? Whatever that might look like for yourself. Just be that person times 10, you know what I mean? And much respect, you know what I mean, for those who's out here and that's doing anything, you know what I mean, that came home from prison, that's walking the straight and narrow for them and their family. I got nothing but respect for you dudes, you know what I mean? And Corey, I appreciate you giving me your platform, you know what I mean, to at least tell, I mean, a little bit of my story, man. A lot of it was I had to censor myself, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I know a lot of people's going to be looking at this, you know what I mean, especially a lot of church people. But I appreciate your platform, and I give you nothing but my blessings and grace for your podcast, you know what I mean, and everything, bro. Like you already know I respect you. You're my little brother, but I still look up to you, you know what I mean? And yo, do what you do, man. Run those numbers up, bro. You already know what it is.
I want to say before we close, because a lot of your story I knew, and behalf of me and the family, you already know how proud, you know what I'm saying, we are of you and where you came from to where you are right now. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people out there that might look at me as somebody they might look up to, but they don't realize that you was the first person I looked up to. You know what I'm
Respect.
saying?
You already know.
And I don't stop looking up to you. Like people feel like, oh, when somebody goes to jail, even if it's your older brother, he goes to jail, that means you can't. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Like you was always be big bro. You know what I'm saying? Almost like a superhero when it came to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's how I always
Respect.
look at you like that. So
You already
I'm
know.
proud of you, everything you doing. Azalea Vasi, listen, I'm gonna post a picture up real quick before we even leave. Make sure y'all check azaleavasi.com and support, because this fragrance is no joke. Trust me, when you buy it, you're gonna buy another bottle. You know what I'm
And
saying?
it's black owned by me.
Black owned.
100% black owned by me. You know what I
Black
mean?
owned.
So that alone should be like how many people you know, bro? Like, you know what I mean?
You know what I
Let's just
mean? Especially it's Black History Month too.
you see what I'm saying? Like, how
You
many
know what I'm
people you
saying?
know
Spray
from the
some black
town,
cologne on you.
from where we came from Poughkeepsie? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
from Poughkeepsie, son. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? How
yeah.
many people you know got an official fragrance line? You know what I mean? Like, let's
Nah.
run these numbers up so that we can put back into our community, man, like we want to, because that's what this is all about, bro.
That's
You
what it's
already
all
know what
about.
it is.
But no, I think everybody who listened to this interview, you know what I'm saying, who's inspired by this interview, I'm gonna put up the social media links for y'all to click on. Y'all can be able to follow Sean or Jeff Watkins, as y'all can follow him, ask him questions about the union, ask him questions about the cologne. You know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all need to do, I put my social medias up there too. Thank y'all for watching this episode of the Corey Porter Podcast, Prison Talk. We see y'all later. Peace.